we live? I think we are live. Yes, we are live. Now, quickly, I need to also find a way to get the F2 and the F3 race on a screen somewhere, because I've just realised they're also racing. But we are here for what's going to be probably our longest stream, actually, because we've got the MotoGP sprint race at Balaton Park coming up in about 10 minutes, and then followed by that, the qualifying for the Monaco Grand Prix in Formula 1. Actually, positive starts to the weekend. Márquez, if you don't know, has returned to pole position, which is one incredible considering what his body condition, his fitness condition. He had surgery, double surgery, what, three weeks ago now, maybe 3.5, 4 weeks ago, and he's come back. His second race back, he's been on pole position. I don't think he'll have the pace on the Sunday. I don't think he'll have the pace to win the race, but he might have the race pace over a sprint race distance, which of course is half the distance for anyone who doesn't know. Face cam, how to get ready for this. 3, 2, 1, bosh! Hell yeah. There's the face cam. You might be thinking, why am I wearing glasses? Well, one, this is Doer's glasses, just for context. And two, can I move that? No, that's the wrong one. I want to go this way, yeah. Yeah, my right eye is... You sexy guy, thank you, darling. My right eye is... I don't know what's happened to it, but it's very red and very painful. And I didn't realise Doer's glasses has these things in, the ones that help screens. I thought, well, I'm going to be looking at the screen all day today with the races. So I have to deal with it and get on with it. So I'm wearing these glasses, which I actually think slightly suits me whether I had long hair or short hair. Also, Pav, I've just seen what happened in the F3 race at the hairpin, which is quite funny. And I don't know what's happening in the F2 race, but just realised they're on multiplayer I. Did that happen again this morning? Actually, don't tell me. I don't care. I don't know. I really don't care. Anyone doesn't know, multiplayer I is an issue where you're having to work right now, which is why I don't want to know while I'm here. But thank you for reminding me. But yes, the top two on this grid. It's apparently it's happening currently, but me and Adam and Slim G respect that. I respect that. Get Adam in the chat, mate. If you're with Adam, get him in the chat. Yeah, so the front row of the grid is an ideal front row for someone like me, because I'm a big fan of Marquez and Pedro Acosta, and you have them front two. Acosta is the only KTM in the top 12. The other KTM actually qualified, or the next KTM, sorry, qualified down in 14th, being an Bastianini, so Acosta is again showing how talented he is and how bad that bike is itself. Marquez, as we said, returning on the grid. And one thing I will say about the Formula 1 later on, Picture Acosta will send it to turn 1 and go off. Oh, interesting. Well, I mean, it all depends on the launch. It's not that... I don't know if you know this track, but... so something's here. Turn 1 is here, so it's a decent line to turn 1. But look how tight turn 1 is. Someone will, I reckon, come off here. I think it happened last year as well. Just because of how tight it is and how tight the apex is. But what I was going to say about the F1 in a minute is I'm actually not hating this weekend of Formula 1, because with the energy restriction, I don't like that I have to say energy restriction, but with that happening, they don't have to lift off and they don't have to conserve energy because they've already got enough. So the drivers are actually pushing this weekend, which is the first time this year I haven't hated it. Hello, Scott. Everyone can listen to my new single and give me plays. Oh, go on, Scott, put it in the chat. I've forgotten the name. I'll put it on my story. I was meant to. Put it right here, right now. You big baller. You big baller. In fact, if one of my mods are here, Scott's going to put it in the chat and someone pin it. Whoever can pin it. Pin that one. We want Scott playing festivals. That's what we want. Pedro Acosta is just cool, isn't he? Sorry, the camera's just on him with his long hair. And what I like is they're bringing back shades from, like... Do you remember, like, the 2005, 2006 style sunglasses? They're bringing them back, and I respect it. But yeah, if anyone doesn't know, so we have the sprint race now. Of course, the sprint race is only 13 laps, so that's going to be about 20 minutes. Maybe less than 20 minutes. And at 3 o'clock is when we have the Formula 1 qualifying. So it's back-to-back today, and it'll be back-to-back again tomorrow for the races, which of course are longer races, longer streams tomorrow. Monaco can be slightly dull, but how many of you here actually know this track for the disaster of a track that it is? Scott, I know you watched it last year, but Pav, I don't think you did. I don't think you recognise the track at all. It's not, it's in Bartok's, home nation. I'm DJing, can't hear you, can't watch the race. Oh. Okay, then we'll do it later on. But that's valid. I respect the hustle that you're here. We'll promote your new single when you can put it in the chat. I'm sure you're doing a great job. Thank you. I'm sure you're doing a great job, Scott. I'm sure you're doing a great job. And I hope you're playing a new one as well. But I need to actually find the name of it so I can actually say it on record. Do you know what I mean? What's your name? Nilo. Here you are. Waiting. It's called Waiting. Go and play Waiting. Give Scott publicity and money. That's what we need. That's what we're all here working together with, is to get money. But yes, what was interesting, I found, actually, was the reaction of the Ducati crew when Mark got pole. Because Mark was, as soon as he set that time, they all had one lap left. And bear in mind, you have to remember, Mark actually fell off in his first lap in Q2. So that, of course, put him on the back foot. He didn't change bike, he stayed on his initial bike, because it didn't have holes, it didn't just have many scratches and a few dents. But him and Antonelli actually fell off at the same time at the same corner. So they both stayed on, both did the laps. Mark, at the end, went quickest, and on everyone's last lap, the only one who could improve their lap time was Mark himself. Now, the scary thing is that Marquez being comfortable with what he can do with his body and what he can do on the bike this weekend. But I do feel like he started to get that, that dominant confidence back, which is where we see Mark crash, is when he has that feeling where he can kind of push the limit and find the limit that no one else can even see. I hope he doesn't do it today, because I think we need a Marc Marquez at the front. I wouldn't be against the Marc Marquez win, but I hope the confidence he has today is more of a. He doesn't believe he can fight. He said in the interviews after qualifying, he doesn't believe he can fight for victories yet. Yeah, he can do it over a lap, but he can't do it over. I think he said like 6 or 7. It's pretty much just 13, so do well. I wouldn't be against the Pedro Acosta win, as I said. Big fan of Pedro Acosta and what he's done on that KTM. I cannot wait to see Pedro Acosta on the red team alongside Marc Marquez, because we all know that's basically going to happen, isn't it? Like, it's rumoured more than anything. We're still waiting for the teams to agree on the Concord agreement so that they can announce the moves. Alas, here we are, waiting for it. It's also windy in Hungary as well in Balaton. I don't remember, because of course this is the second time MotoGP have been to this circuit. They were here for the first time last season. I don't remember if it was as windy as it was this year, but qualifying and practice especially became very windy. And of course that plays an effect. But there's not really, the reason why I feel okay, because I said Acosta would be competitive this weekend, because there's not really a straight worth its name. Yes, you have the main one here and the back one here, but I mean on the MotoGP bike they'll do this in 5 seconds, they'll do this in 3 seconds, so it's like not really a straight, is it? And that's why I thought Yamahas would be a bit more competitive. They showed speed yesterday, especially Toprak, because Toprak won here multiple times last year on World Superbikes. So it's the track that he knows and familiar with and has had success at. He looked good yesterday. He looked decent this morning. I thought actually he had a chance to get through to Q2 this morning. However, he's in 18th. So, If anyone wondering, Cal Crutchlow, yes, he's at the back. I know you can't see his name on the timings, but yes, he's at the back. But he's doing okay, actually. It's his first time, of course, that he's come to this track since as I said, this track's new. He's not done any laps around here at all, I don't think, until this weekend. I think he's only 1.5 off the pace in front, which is impressive, actually. You might notice the name is 16th called Ike Lecuona. Now, if anyone has watched MotoGP for a long time, Ike Lecuona did have a couple seasons in MotoGP a few years back on the Tech 3 KTM team. Wasn't that good. And then got booted out and went World Superbikes. He is replacing Alex Marquez, who's still recovering. Alex Marquez will be back soon. I think he'll be back sooner than we all think. But yes, he's replacing Alex Marquez this weekend, and instead of last weekend, it was Michele Pirro. And he's doing a good job, actually. There was a chance where, again, he was up there looking to get into the spot in Q2, but then when it came to extract all he can from the MotoGP bikes, he couldn't quite do it, dropped down to 16th, and he'll stay there. But an impressive weekend from him nonetheless. Obviously, I like his number, 27. Everyone who knows me, that is my number to a T. Good on Ike Lecuona. I don't think he'll get a seat in MotoGP again, so he might do the QB. He's done a appearance before recently. I don't remember who with, where he filled in for an injured rider. Here he is again doing that. I'm surprised they didn't do Bulliger, considering the rumours are Bulliger could go to the VR46 team for next year, so I'm surprised they didn't give it to Bulliger to do. Yeah, no, it's mine. Hello, father. Yeah, I know it's yours. Where'd you get it from? I was actually telling the story earlier when you were asked when you were hanging out of a tree in Monaco. Because I said earlier you missed this, but I said that um, I'm not hating the Formula One weekend this weekend because the drivers are pushing. It's the first time all season they can push because they don't have to lift off 300 metres before. Anyway, bike talk, right? Márquez talk, Pedro Acosta talk. The Formula 1 does come straight after. Oh, and now we get the fancy graphics of the MotoGP start. I love this, how much they're trying to do Formula 1. There's a rumour that later this evening, they're going to do a dummy test, like a dummy start. Mr. Jones, the man, the myth, the tech crew legend, how are we? Hello, Ben, mate, how you doing? I knew you were going to go in, because I know you got the weekend off for this. How you doing, Ben? There's a rumour, yeah, that they're going to do a practice start later on tonight, where they're going to try and make it 2 bikes per row, so how Formula 1 do it, because they've had a lot of thinking about why the incident that injured Zarco in Barcelona occurred, because of the ride height devices, but I don't think they can ban them initially, so they're going to try and do a 2 bike per row start. I don't think that's clever for bike racing, maybe I'm wrong. I just watched FP3 Monaco, yeah, there's a class. It was a good hit by Behrman, wasn't it? If those who don't know, Ollie Behrman in FP3 did decide to spank the wall up upper Ravage into Massenet, so the usual. Actually, not the usual one. I thought he was going to lose the rear, correct it, and then go right into the wall. He just lost the rear and then just spun into the wall. But yeah, I'm not hating F1 this weekend. It's good. It's good. It's a different feeling when an F1 weekend's on because the drivers are pushing, and that's all I wanted to see was the drivers push. However, of course, MotoGP is first, 13 laps of the Balaton Park Grand Prix circuit. Nobody knows this track. Positive vibes this weekend in F1? Yeah, completely. Agreed. It was a long way down from my branch. I was hanging on to the top of the cliff at the way down from Marquez corner. Yeah. Okay, so anyone who doesn't know, my dad was at the 81. Well, the one he's talking about is the 81 Grand Prix in Monaco, where he saw Villeneuve win. That's what he's referring to there. Probably his best memory in his life. You know, he's had children, but nothing will top, I don't think, that memory. Anyway, warm lap begins. Of course, anyone who knows me knows I cannot stand the sync system on the MotoGP timing. That's a story to hear right there. Yeah, I'm sure he's going to now. I'll say it after an F1's on, don't worry. Yeah, for those who know me knows I cannot stand the timing screen for MotoGP, so if I'm commentating and the dots haven't moved, ignore it. Ignore the dots, because I'll get them lined up at some point. It just takes a while, because the riders are on the warm-up lap, but of course you can't see it, because this program is very bad. Which is the best way to say it, it's very bad. But yeah, I called it in anyone who listened to my podcast the other day, they came out, I think, on Thursday or Wednesday. I think it was Thursday, because I didn't stream in the week, so I focused on getting it out instead. I called this a Mickey Mouse. Ben didn't like this reference, but I called this a Mickey Mouse track, because it is, really, for MotoGP. The corner I don't like is this one. Because if if a rider drops the bike here, the bike's going to come along the runoff and come back onto the track here. And that's dreadful, really. Just headbutt the mic. That's dreadful planning. The corner I do like is this one. Turn, whatever this is, because this is very fast. The rear tyre will spin here all the time. This is where the top speed will come down to here, then just a harm braking zone into there. But it's just a Mickey Mouse track. There's nothing really to it. I'm surprised that they actually agreed. This rumour is they could go to the Hungaro ring next year. I think some changes left to be made on that track for the runoff, especially in the middle sector. I'm not against it though, but I think the runoff is not quite suitable for something started, because everyone's now doing a speed thing. Okay, here we go. Right, I'm going to just commentate and focus on dots later on. But we are lining up on the grid. We have Márquez on pole position. Pedro Acosta, the sole KTM, in the top 13. On second on the front row, second. And Fermin Aldeguer, remember, there's 2 injured riders on the front row. Márquez, who's got 1 arm, and Aldeguer, who's effectively got 1 leg, third on the grid. Pecco Bagnaia, Mark's teammate, is in the middle row of the second. Sorry, he's in the middle of the second row. Di Antonio in 6th position as well. They're waiting for the gorgeous green flag at the back. Give me the green flag. Here we are. 5 laps are on. Waiting for folks to go off. Marquez is a great launch from Marquez. Also good from Pedro Acosta. We could be side by side into turn 1 with these two. No, Mark's well ahead. Fantastic launch by Marquez going into turn 1. Pedro Acosta is going to fill second. Bezzecchi's up the third. Can't remember where he started, but they're pushing. There's a few elbows out in turn 1 into the flip flop of turn 2. It's a messy turn 1 and 2 in these corners. Marquez leads Pedro Acosta away from turn 2 and turn 3. Bezzecchi up to third. That's phenomenal from Bezzecchi, with Aldeguer dropping just down to 4th already. Fernandez, who remember won the sprint race last time out, in Mugello is up to 5th already. Bagnaia down to 6th, only dropped 1 position. Di Antonio's the big loser from 4th on the grid to 7th. 8th now is Moreira's come up a lot. Moreira in 6th place. I don't quite know where that's come from. There he goes, down the brake and into the hairpin with just behind on the dots, but he gets him into this corner. Moreira up to 6th place. Pecco down to 8th. Di Antonio down to... No, sorry, Pecco 7th. Di down to 8th. And Jorge Martin down to 9th. A poor start from Jorge Martin himself. But now we have Pedro Acosta and Marc Marquez coming onto this little backstretch segment. Acosta's got to make a move early on Marc. Sorry, when Red Bull Ring would be good for MotoGP. They go Red Bull Ring, they do go there, but the reason why they took away that wonderful run from the turn 1 to the hairpin to turn 3 to add the chicane is because of a crash that happened in MotoGP. So you can argue MotoGP kind of ruined the Red Bull Ring track, but back into the race, Marquez is leading Acosta comfortably. This is well behind this timing thing. I'm going to figure this out during the race, but I'm trying to figure out Acosta is all at the back, rear wheel of Marquez coming into chicane onto this back straight now. Bezzecchi is covering for Aldeguer. Aldeguer is now finding momentum. He had a poor launch and poor run into turn 1 and kind of got bullied by Bezzecchi. He's a rider on his outside as well. But near the end of the first set, that Marquez, Acosta, Bezzecchi, Firmino, Aldeguer feels it. Ralph Fernandez still in 5th and Moreira still in 6th. Jorge Martin's just gone down the inside of Pecco Bagnaia, so he's got Di Antonio and Bagnaia all on the opening lap. Look at Marc Marquez, comfortable. He's got the front wheel in the air coming down the main straight to end the opening lap. Marquez, Acosta, Bezzecchi over the line. Not a bad top 3 when you think about it. Marquez got to be careful in turn 1. The place where Marc dropped it and Di Antonio dropped it in lap 1 in qualifying, was turn 1. It's a tight hairpin. None of them really like it. Into turn 2. It's Di Antonio now. Is it getting done again? Digi's been done by Bastianini now. Remember, Di Antonio also fell off at turn 1, so he's lacking a bit of confidence. Toprak up to 15th. I thought he'd be the lead Yamaha because of his success here previously, but it's actually Jack Miller in 12th being the lead Yamaha. It's a shocking start from Di Antonio. This is where he's not consistent enough to actually put a charge towards the Aprilias. He's good on one session and another, but it seems to struggle. He needs to find the consistency. I'm interested to see what Aldeguer is going to do here, because he's all at the back of Bezzecchi. Now, from what anyone wondering, where's the Aprilia's pace this weekend? They have pace, but not their usual dominant pace they've had multiple times this season. And you can tell with Bezzecchi in 3rd, Fernandez in 5th, Martin in 6th. They're kind of split. What confuses me is Ayagura. He cannot qualify. Jorge Martin goes down the inside of Moreira into the hairpin. Someone's just gone long, actually. There might be Martin himself, might have skipped that chicane. It was Martin, so he's going to go back behind Moreira. He didn't actually pass him at all. He just cut the whole chicane himself. They'll stay in the old positions. But back to Aldeguer and Bezzecchi. Aldeguer chasing Bezzecchi. But the thing is with this track, and the reason why I call it Mickey Mouse, is because you can't really make a move. And if you make a move, you're probably going to do what Martin done there, get sucked in and go over the chicane and miss the breaking point completely, because it's too tight. It's too there. Anyway, what was I saying about before that happened? The pace of the Aprilias. It's interesting. For me and Aldeguer, it's all at the back of Bezzecchi as we come into the final chicane. He was going to make a move soon. Bezzecchi, I think, looks calm. Di Antonio, again, is struggling on the Saturday. Ayagura, that's what I was saying. Ayagura. I said in the podcast, if he can sort his qualifying out on his Saturdays, he'd be contending most weekends. But once again, he cannot. You can see he's qualified outside of Q2, and he's already down to 14th in with 11 laps to go. And again, he's costing his weekend. Marc Marquez fastest lap of the race that time round. It is, you can call me whatever you want, it's fabulous to see Marc Marquez leading their field again. He's pulled 1.1 on Pedro Acosta. The boy's got one arm. Just remember that. He's got one arm. The other riders, really, have no excuse to not be competing with him already. He's already pulled the gap to 1.2 to Acosta, who's pulled the gap to 1 second to Marco Bezzecchi. But I said earlier, the riders should frankly be ashamed. The guy's got one arm. You cannot be getting gapped by someone with one arm, but exactly what's happening, because Marc Marquez is not human. I also say he is the GOAT. They're showing the replay of Martin. As I said, when you try and make a move at this track, Martin is trying to line up Moreira under braking. You know when the riders come out, instead of out braking, they're trying to just line him up so the other one has to back off. Martin couldn't do that because he just went straight on, ran out of room. Di Antonio is fighting Luca Marini for 10th and 11th, so it just sums up Digi start. Marc looks calm. Aldeguer, I thought was going to move into the hairpin there, but he just backed against it in the end. I'm going to try and reset these dots, see what's happening. I don't know why they're going backwards. This program is dreadful. I cannot stand it. Like, where are they going? Why are we going backwards? Why in the world are we going backwards? Are they trying to tell me they're here anyway? Anyway, focus on Aldeguer. They're side by side. Aldeguer and Bezzecchi down their little curved back straight here. This is where I don't understand. Bezzecchi done well. Bezzecchi covered the inside. I thought Acosta was in the air there, but I think in a moment coming out of the chicane. But Bezzecchi and Aldeguer wheel to wheel each other now, going on to the main straight. Aldeguer's going to have to move into turn 1. It's going to be tight on the apex. You're going to have to stand him up, Bezzecchi. Aldeguer, you're going to have to really... But Bezzecchi got ahead of a launch out the last corner into the main straight now, and they invited Ralph Fernandez to get involved. We're not going to see again Ralph Fernandez against the factory Aprilia if Aldeguer cannot make the move soon. But Aldeguer clearly has the pace over Bezzecchi, and Martin cannot recover the gap, but he's all over him in every mid-corner to exit. Bezzecchi's just making the gap on the brakes. Top Rack's up to 14th now. He's got Ayagura, who have been praising him for a very long time, but I agree he's now dropping down to 15th place. Now, of course, in the sprint race, that's no points. I forget in the sprint race where you have to be to score points. I think it's top 8, top 10, something like that. But we're giving the gap. Marquez to pull the gap to Acosta to 1.5. Aldeguer staying behind Bezzecchi. I don't know where you're going to make the move there. I really do not know where the chance is. Marquez is controlling this, and we have not seen this obviously for a long time. But can he keep this pace up for a longer period of time? That's over just a couple laps. Pedro Acosta, I think, if he can learn now to make sure to be careful with his tyres, could close the gap towards the end. He seems to struggle towards the end. Oh, Aldeguer, a moment. How Aldeguer stayed on the bike, I've got no idea. He came out of the chicane and the front's gone. You can see the black line on the track. The front is gone. He's had to pick the bike up, go off the track. He has dropped down to 6th now behind Fernandez, who's down to 5th now. Sorry, behind Raul Fernandez. So he only lost 1 position, but he's lost all the momentum. But I want to see a replay of that moment because how they stay on the bike. His front was gone. As soon as you see a black line left on the track with the front sliding, you're gone. You're on the floor. He's picked it up. He stayed on the bike. Marquez stays in 6th. Aldeguer down to 5th. Fernandez up to 4th. Now, I just said, are we going to see another battle of Raul Fernandez against the factory Aprilia? We could be doing that, and he will close, I think, on Marco Bezzecchi's pace isn't there. They're showing the replay into the chicane. He's already sliding going in, but he's got the control. In the left, he goes through the flip-flop to the right, and the front just won't go with him for the right. And you look at the black line on the floor. That is incredible how he's kept that up. That front's gone. That's a crash. It really should be classed as a crash. The front is gone. He's not in control of it. But he says on the bike, Marquez has again pulled the gap to 2 seconds to Acosta. Martin's not got a penalty for lost efficient time. I thought that was going to come up because he was going to get a penalty for losing not giving up sufficient time. So that's awkward timing for them for that pop-up. But Martin's not been penalised. I wasn't even thinking that he's going to get penalised for what happened there. So that's, again, very odd. But look at Marquez, 1.9 seconds to Pedro Acosta, who's 1.4 ahead of Marco Bezzecchi. So Bezzecchi's not competing right now. This is Acosta v Marc. And now if you're Pedro Acosta, let me tell you something. This is exactly what Pedro Acosta wants. He's openly said if there's someone he wants in front of him to fight and to race, it's Marquez. He's got the opportunity now. Marc is still injured. And Marc's put in 2 seconds, but you have to remember Acosta's bike is frankly a dog. Martin down the inside of the railroad again. He's going to try the chicane. This time he's got the bike stop. He's wide on the entry before the flip flop to the right, but he's got the move done. Moreira's going to try to go down the inside of the hairpin. Now backs against it. It's a good move from Martin. He tried it 2 laps ago, ran across the runoff. Now he's learned how to do it. You have to stand him up way before, and you have to accept that you're going to miss the first entry of the chicane to get the flip-flop to the right-hander. But Martin is now up to 6th place, Romero down to 7th. Firmino Aldeguer is down within half a second of Fernandez, who actually Fernandez has not closed on Marco Bezzecchi like I thought he would. Cameras on Di Antonio and Bagnaia as they're down in 9th and 10th. Bagnaia is weird. I said it before, Bagnaia is just strange. He had the pace last weekend, but suddenly again, a week later, he's struggling to get into Q2. He had to go through Q1. He gets into Q2. His pace is nowhere in Q2. And again, he gets bullied at lap 1. He's down in 9th despite starting 5th. And Di Antonio's been up and down really again this weekend. I just hit my wheel again. That's happened a few times. But yeah, Di Antonio really is down in 10th. He started 4th. It's not good enough. And that's maybe why the Factory Ducati team, there's no maybe about it. They're eyeing up Marquez and Acosta as the dream team. If you're Di Antonio and Bagnaia, frankly, you don't have a chance in keeping that seat when you've got those 2 names against you. Bagnaia is now on the back of Bastianini, who's got into the top 10 at least on the KTM in 8th. And maybe there's 2 KTMs in the top 10. It's not helping Pedro Acosta though, is it? As Marquez is holding the gap to 2 seconds now to Pedro Acosta. The last time out, Acosta's only 300 by Marquez, but the gap before, 6 times the lap before and 3.5 times the lap before that. So maybe Marc's pace might start coming down now, or is Marc now got that gap to control it? Bezzecchi's just on his personal best middle sector. I now want to see, as I said, is Marc able to control at this pace, or is this where the fatigue's going to kick in? He said he can't maintain this pace for a number of laps. Is he telling the truth? Marquez normally tends to tell the truth anyway, so I'd be surprised if he's wrong. But he knows, if anyone knows how to control a race, it's Marquez himself. And Bezzecchi's actually closed a little bit. Well, actually, I say that he's just lost 2 attempts, so the gap remains at 1.2, nearly 1.3 to Acosta and Bezzecchi. He got it down to just over a second. That's now built again. But here's the problem with this track. They're going to have to follow each other for a long time. If they're going to make a move, it's going to have to be aggressive. It's going to be late on the brakes. It's going to have to be arguably a little shoulder touch at the apex of the corner, because you have to commit to the overtakes here. You can't do a half-assed one at all. You can barely do a half-assed one in MotoGP anyway, but you cannot do a half-assed overtake at this track. Otherwise, you'll just go wide and miss the corner, or drop it yourself. You have to bump them wide. You have to be aggressive. You have to get on with it. Marc, once again, 3 laps in a row, has kept the gap to 2 seconds. That makes me think he's holding it there. He knows what he's doing. Pedro Acosta, I think, knows. The thing is, in Acosta's position, if Acosta pushes now, he's gonna drop it with that KTM, because that KTM shouldn't be anywhere near the top 3, let alone be second. Nowhere near it. And Bastianini's actually doing well to be 8th. The KTM it's an achievement if they're in the top 10. And look what Pedro Acosta is doing, which is why they're going to lose him to the factory Ducati team. I don't think these two are now pushing. I think the top two are staying there. I think Acosta can hold the gap to Bezzecchi to 1.4. You could argue, is that sprint race done? Moreira very sideways going into the hairpin now after a little back straight. You could argue, though, is this the sprint race done? Let's focus on the little, what I call the stinker battle with the Yamahas. I do it every time. Jack Miller's leading it in 12th. Top Brack in 14th. Fabio Quartararo in 18th. Like, I understand he made millions and millions to his Yamaha deal. He has also thrown his MotoGP career down the absolute toilet. And he's not helping. There was rumours that he's going to sign for factory Honda. But Honda aren't a fan of what he's been saying in the media about Yamaha, that they're doing nothing and can't create it. And he's not helping his reputation there. Oh, Pedro Acosta's just dipped below the 2-second mark of Marquez. Okay, yes, it's 200ths of a second he's just closed, but he's within the 2-second mark. That does change the number on the pit board when it comes out. You have to change the 2 to the 1 point something. That can psychologically affect you. Maybe for Marquez it probably doesn't. Cal Crutch, though, watch, he's still on the bike. You can see his little white dot on the back. I'll show the mouse. Here's Cal. Again, he's got a torn muscle with his shoulder already from running the bikes from last weekend, so I'm impressed he's actually doing this weekend at all. He's doing a test session. You have to big up Diego Moreira, though, again, on the other LCR Honda, staying in 7th place, holding the gap to Bastianini, and actually staying on Jorge Martin's rear tyre. I didn't expect that to happen. Back over the line, Mark again gets it at 2.0 over the line. That's 4 laps in a row now, 2.0, and Acosta holds Bezzecchi once again at 1.4. How gripping. I don't want to slate the track more. I slated this track plenty in the podcast episode the other day and the pre-race, the pre-sprint race for this. It's just not good though, is it? It really is just plain for MotoGP. It really is. It's an odd configuration for what they did. Maybe in World Superbikes it might be good because those bikes are slightly different. They can race a little bit better here. These bikes, they're just too many wings. Too many wings for these bikes to be competitive on this track, but what we have to do, got to deal with it. The rumours are it's only going to last for this year, and then it'll be gone off the calendar for the Hungaroring. So let's see if that happens. Moreira is staying on the back of Martin. Look at the speed they carry for the right-hander. You come out on this first right-hander here, and you have to commit to the speed. Bagnaya's got a track limits warning. You have to commit to the speed from this apex to this apex, leaning right the whole time, then floor it down this back straight for a hard break in here. It's impressive to watch. When you watch them do that, they just can't race in there. Marquez built the gap to 2.1. He's controlling it. He's controlling it. The guy's got one arm, one shoulder. He's had 7 surgeries on that shoulder. And it's 2 races afterwards, he is controlling it. Now, this is the ideal track for him to come to, purely because it's not the most physical, like Mugello. Mugello was arguably the worst track for him to return to. But it's impressive how he did. He finished in top 10 both times. This track is a lot more rider-friendly than what Mugello is. Yes, it's quite twisty, but it doesn't have that much strain on the rider's shoulders when you think about it. There's other moments of this track which is a bit worse, but if there's a perfect track to recover from, it's going to be this track. Also, you'll notice how in qualifying for the top 5 were Ducatis, which is interesting how the corners like this, the stop and start tracks, favour the Ducatis more now rather than the Aprilias. You can see the Aprilias don't have the pace as they usually do, which is interesting to watch for the races going forward. It makes me think Ducati will be faster at Assen, as that's also very stop and start and point and squirt. Back at the front, who would have guessed that Marquez holds the gap to 2.2 now? As he increased it by another 10 to Acosta. Acosta's got the gap to Bezzecchi 1.3. He's lost a little bit of time, but nothing much to make a difference. Nothing's happening apart from that. I'm not going to commentate in absolute rubbish to say it is happening. No, nothing's really happening. Moreira again, he's saying, I'm impressed by how Moreira is sticking to Martin like that. I say that he's just ran wide of the hairpin, so he just lost a good 3-4 tenths there. What's the gap now? 0.47. It was 0.6. There you go. I shouldn't have said anything. That's my fault for Moreira to curse him going under the brake in there. He was sideways. But, you know, it's what you expect here. Bagnaia stays 9th. Digi stays 10th. Bermuda stays 11th. Ayagura actually is the one making moves. He should be making moves, really. He was 15th early. He's got Toprak and Brad Binder to come up to 13th. Not really good enough. And Raul Fernandez again on the Saturday in 4th. I don't know why they have such differences between those two when they're riding. It's always, you never have both Trackhouse Aprilias at the front together. It's always one or the other. I don't know why that is. I mean, we know Agura's problem. Agura's problem is... This glasses hurt my ears. Ow. Agura's problem is he can't qualify the thing. Fernandez's problem is he's not consistent enough. You know, watch the race tomorrow. Agura will have the pace from the last 10 laps, guaranteed. Tends to happen every time MotoGP is on a long race distance. Márquez over that line, 2.1 seconds Pedro Acosta. That lap Acosta's pulled Bezzecchi to 1.6, so he just doesn't have the pace to do anything. The top two are controlling it. I think Bezzecchi's going to be under pressure from Fernandez and Aldeguer. Aldeguer is going to be kicking himself making that mistake because he should be in 3rd. Now remember, I said earlier, Aldeguer, I say why he's riding on one leg. He broke his leg in January in training. And of course, I think it was his tibia or fibia, one of them. So that's a long injury. That's a long recovery. And he's fine. He's getting on with it. He limps back to his motorhome after every session because these boys are different. With 4 laps to go, nothing much has happened. Am I complaining that it's a Marquez 1 and an Acosta 2? No. That's the fan in me. I think that's good for the sport. That's what the sport needs. What more can I say? Everyone who watches MotoGP religiously knows the impact of this circuit. It's very difficult for the riders to create anything unless you make a mistake. As I said, the reason why Fernandez got out of gear is because of the mistake Aldeguer made at the chicane. But even Martin can't close the gap to Aldeguer and Fernandez, which is interesting, which shows the prettier pace. It's such an odd configuration this is. Back at the front, Marquez has pulled it nearly to 2.3 to Pedro Acosta, so they're controlling it. Acosta knows he's not going to catch Marc. Marc seems to have the pace for 13 laps. Can he have it for 26 laps tomorrow? That's the biggest thing. But this is going to be huge for Marc Marquez to win this sprint race. Now, yes, he won the sprint race in Jerez with the rain, which, did you know they've changed the pit entry rules now? So now you cannot go over any line, any bit of grass, any bit of runoff between the last corner and the pit entry like Marc did in Jerez. They've changed the rules to that, so you can't do that. So Marc got away with it there, then created a new rule. Agura's up to 12th now. He's got Jack Miller for the battle of the stinky Yamahas. Jack Miller leads in 13th, the Top Rack in 14th. That's close between them. Quartararo should be embarrassed with what's happening there. He's behind both of them. And Morbidelli should be embarrassed. Well, Morbidelli again down near the back on the Ducati. It's pathetic, really. But yes, they changed the rules. So Marquez has won 2 sprint races, of course, Jerez, and he won in Brazil, the first sprint race, with the shoulder injury he had. So this is going to be his first one since the injury. He had the surgery, since he's recovered. I say recovered, he's still recovering, still doing this, but he's in control. The bike is not moving at all. Same with Acosta. Normally you see those two, they're sliding when they hit the front brakes, the rear is cracking everywhere. Not today. Today they're calm. Today this race they're calm. The gap between Acosta and Bezzecchi is 1.2, so it's come down slightly. But I think Bezzecchi is more focused on Fernandez, who's just at the track limit, one and down Raul Fernandez. The gap is 6 and second with Aldeguer is on the rear wheel of Fernandez. But where's he going to make the move? I just can't see what Aldeguer's going to make a move. It's not going to be into this chicane. Their pace is too similar to make a move into this chicane down here before the hairpin. Could it be into, my guess would be he can make the move into here. If you can see my mouse. He's going to follow him out of here, get the run there, into there. That's a long message. There's hardly any spectators. What's the point of taking the best motorcycle riders and bikes in the world to a country that clearly just isn't interested in them? But then they remove Phillip Island from the Canada, totally backward thing by Liberty Media. Again, anyone who knows me who knows, I mean, you make very, very valid points. Anyone who knows me knows I do not like Liberty Media involved in motorsport whatsoever. I think they're greedy, they're shocking, they're embarrassing, they don't understand what motorsport is. Yes, I don't think this one was Liberty Media though. I think this was Dorna. The reason why I wrote Balaton, I think, was Dorna. Liberty Media, the reason why I've been leaving Phillip Island for a pathetic street track in Adelaide, which is asking to kill the riders, which I think is embarrassing for the sport, embarrassing for them. It's what Liberty Media do. There's hardly any spectators. Well, there's one grandstand, isn't there? Oh, there's 2. There's a grandstand down this main straight, and there's another one here at the hairpin. Apart from that, it's just land. That's why I think it's an odd place to go. It's an odd configuration. It's an odd agreement they have. Maybe I don't think it's ones you're not interested in them. I think I'll tell you what's happened. It happened in Formula 1, didn't it? How's Cal getting on? Cal Crutchlow is still on the bike. He is last, but he's still on the bike. He's got arm pump a little bit, but he's still going. Will he finish the race tomorrow? I don't know, but he's still rolling around, Scott. That's Aldeguer well wide again. So what happened there? Aldeguer got distracted by Cal Crutchlow there. It was going down the slipstream of Raul Fernandez, down the back straight into the hairpin. He got sucked into the dirty air of the bike in front. Goes well wide under braking in the runoff again, and now you can see he's dropped back to 1.2. Martin now is just half a second within him, but he got sucked into the braking massively to Raul Fernandez. That's 2 mistakes now from Aldeguer. Maybe he's a bit rusty from being at the front. Hasn't happened a lot this season with him, but it's 2 mistakes from him. He's dropped to 1.2 behind Raul Fernandez. Stayed on the bike, stayed on the track this time. Marquez is holding the gap at 2.2. He's got this under control. Yeah, I wouldn't say Hungary are not interested in MotoGP. Marc is cruising. They've just put the camera on Marc going through that chicane. Marc is absolutely not the same without Chief Ben. Listen, Lombard need him. Yeah, Marc is absolutely cruising for the chicane. He's not even leaning properly that chicane. He is on a stroll. Just finish my food and watch Marc dominate. Great weekend. Yeah, you wait to F1 qualifying, mate. Who's feeling a Max Verstappen pole position at Monaco? I don't. I'd love it if it happened, but I don't. But yeah, that's the most I've seen a leader cruise, I think, in a long time into that chicane. Marc isn't even getting his knee down in those chicanes. The gap to Acosta's come down. Oh, it's 1.2. I thought it was closer then. But I mean, the gaps are similar. That's the problem. It's not that Hungary aren't interested in bikes. Oh, there you go. For me now to get track limits warning, so they've all got it now at the top in the top 10. A lot of them. I don't think it's Hungary aren't interested in bikes. I just think they've gone to a weird location, which is very difficult to get to. Top right, Yamaha alert, Top Rack is up to 13, so he's leading the Yamaha battle. The stinky Yamahas. Speaking of waiting, have you heard Nilo Waiting? Now available on all music streaming apps. Someone pin that if they can. We were trying to say earlier, but Scott couldn't type in the chat. Someone pin that. That is Scott's new single that we are going to, again, play as much as you need. Play as much as I will play it morning, evening, afternoon. Get Scott what he needs. Get Scott the publicity. Let's get him at a festival playing. Love it from him. I've heard it, I'll be honest, Scott, you probably know this. I heard it once and forgot to plug it on my story, so I'll do that later on. But Ben, that's good from you. Someone pin that. Antonelli is still at the back of Pecco Bagnaia, by the way. The camera's back on Marquez. The gap's down to 1.8 because I think Mark is now just staying in fourth gear the whole time. But Pecco Bagnaia is now under pressure from Antonelli. Where did you make the move? Don't know. Mark is cruising through that chicane. Absolutely cruising. Coming onto this curve back straight now. He's going to win this sprint race. The gap is 1.5 because he's not on the throttle at all. It's going to be the third sprint race. It's impressive this is going to be his third sprint race victory of the season. He had surgery 3 weeks ago. He's got one arm. Marquez is going to get pole position and win the sprint race. Well in, Mark. He's going to win the sprint race. That will mean a lot to him. He wins the sprint race. Pedro Acosta in second. Marco Bezzecchi in third. One of the dullest sprint races I think I've seen in MotoGP. I wasn't a big fan initially of the sprint race. Then I grew to them. Ones like that don't help my opinion with sprint races. That was horrific to watch. Fernandez 4th. Aldeguer in 5th and after his excursion off the track. Martin 6th. Moreira 7th. Bastianini 8th. Bagnaia did stay ahead of Antonelli for 9th and 10th. There's your top 10. Might be one of the dullest sprint races I've seen. However, I thought Neil Hodge is saying it now, I think the riders were waiting for Mark to kind of drop off at the end. He didn't. The only reason why his pace dropped off is because he decided to come off the throttle. He did not push whatsoever on there. Not at all. And now all the riders should be going, oh, for God's sake. Because I reckon that's what, 60% fitness and he's doing that? Wait till he gets to 80% fitness. The Aprilias aren't seeing him. Said it all season. If Mark can get to anywhere near full fitness, he'll be the one in front of the Aprilias, even if the Aprilias are working. Yes, we know the Aprilias haven't been the ideal bike, for this weekend. He's unbeatable. When he's on it, he's unbeatable. I called him greatest of all time. I go out on a whim saying that greatest of all time, and I'll die on that hill with that saying. And that just proves it. He's had surgery that many weeks ago. I got classed by Pedro Acosta. We know the KTM's a dog. Second place for him. Bezzecchi in third. I mean, highest the pretty, of course he is, and it's a good place. Normally he struggles in the sprint races, so picking up some points in third for that is good, considering Martin was in 6th, so there's points up in Martin now. It's Digi Antonio and Bagnaia with the poor ones, I think. 9th and 10th for them, especially Digi, who was 4th on the grid. Top Rack won the Yamaha battle and actually pulled Jackman to 1.6. Yes, it helps he's been in before World Superbikes, but that's still a positive outlook for Top Rack himself. That was dull. Horrendously dull. No other way to say it, really, is there? Has anyone got the F2 race on, or is that finished? Have I missed that? I feel like I've missed it. Also, I've just heard that the David Sutherland has stepped down from West Ham, so Regan's happy. He's wanted that for years. Mark did say, see, this is where the tactics come in. Marquez did say he has no chance to win a sprint race or a main race, but can have the pace over a lap. Yeah, look what he's just done. Look at what he's just done. There's the sprint win for Marquez. There's the return to the top. If he can maintain that over 26 laps tomorrow, the other riders saw what happened last year and it'll happen again. I'll put money on it. I don't have money to actually bet on it, but just wait and see what happens. I've been saying it for a long time. Wouldn't surprise me at all. He's. I need Pedro Acosta on the bike with him so we can have a battle with them all season. But I'm also disappointed about how dull that sprint race was. I kind of expected it at that track actually, but it's hard to talk on a race when nothing's happened. Agura got 11th in the end. Big up Agura. He was 15th at one point, but he was I think the biggest mover, and he dropped from the start as well. So swings and roundabouts. Not all of them are perfect. Oh, I did miss F2. Okay. For me now, Aldeguer's going to be fuming at that because he had the pace. You can see Marquez off the bike. Marquez still limping. Remember, he's still got a broken foot. He's still wearing the boot around the paddock. And he's just limping to his... He can't even run to it, but I don't think he pushed at all. I don't even think Acosta pushed. I think they would have pushed turn 1, 2 and 3. And then I think by turn 4 or 5, those two had a little gap to third anyway because of what went on behind. Yeah, Mark pointed at his head, say, yeah, he was clever. Yeah. Fascinating. Gavin Emmett just in the commentary, Marquez has just won at a canter. Now, for those who don't know what a canter is, imagine you're a horse and you're jogging. That's a canter. Hodgson just said, Neil Hodgson just said, shades of last year. It's exactly what he did last year here as well, so... Wait and see what happens tomorrow. If he can get the 26 laps at that pace and cruise it, yeah, the others are in big trouble. Pedro Acosta's really gone all out on his mullet, isn't he? For those who can't see, he's really gone on his mullet. I think Marquez's dad is face down in that Gemma girl, his girlfriend, of course. Come on, okay, let's focus to F1 now. Give me predictions for F1 qualifying. And is Behrman actually going to make qualifying for Formula 1? That's what I'm interested in. I'm not sure if Behrman... It wasn't that big of a hit. Of course, it was a hit taking him out of FP3. There's only 50 minutes left or something. But I don't think he'll have that much damage to take him out of the session in general. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe I'll be absolutely wrong there, because it tends to happen, especially when you whack the gearbox. We have multiple occasions. I think it was Leclerc, was it a couple of years ago, where I just headbutted the mic again, where he he crashed at swimming pool and damaged his gearbox, and the team didn't clock it until Sunday morning when he went out to the grid. So, very frightening. Oh, I've just touched my eye, which is painful. I shouldn't have done that. What an awful sprint race. Absolutely dreadful. Happy with the result. Obviously, people who know me, I'm a Mark fan, I'm a Acosta fan. Happy with the result, and I will keep saying it. Not happy with the entertainment value of that race, though, as nothing happened. Hopefully, tomorrow is the last time we see these MotoGP bikes at this circuit, and then we can move on. Now, I need the lights out for MotoGP. We still have half an hour for qualifying. I need to sign in again. Don't want my full face. Oh, not like that. That's utterly dreadful. Let me sign in. Launch live timing. Right, so as I said, this is the first weekend where I'm actually not hating Formula 1. It's bearable. It's bearable because the cars are moving. It's bearable because there's uncertainty with what's happening in a qualifying lap. Yes, Monaco is helping that, and I think what I like actually is these cars are less predictable with Monaco. And I said it, I was speaking to myself actually earlier, I was thinking, they've got, I think, the aero very correct. Smaller cars can make a difference though. Yeah, that's one. The cars are making a difference, big time difference this weekend. And the cars are more alive on the track in Monaco. I think you can see when the drivers are pushing, which before we haven't been able to see, because of course they're saving battery. But then when you throw in the, what is it? When you throw in the, microphone. When you throw in the restriction, it'll be a major disappointment if the advantage of the illegal Mercedes have had since the start of the season, which now must be removed, will start. We'll take the front row of the grid. Yes, but if it's proved to be... Well, you told me, and Ben told me as well, I got sent a few things this week about how it's June 1st the changes came in, wasn't it? And so if they've come in June 1st, and this is the difference it's made, then that's it. Then we have to accept that that's Mercedes have just got a trick in their engine. But I think... Yes, but the reason why it's so competitive this weekend is because it's so track dependent. This is Monaco. This is not a normal circuit. This is a circuit where it's bumpy, it's rough, it's not really fast. And the cars are alive. It's all about driver technique on the brakes, on the throttle, especially on exit coming out. I saw the Ferraris were sliding coming into and out of Lowe's hairpin, which isn't a good sign for them. But because they've had to put the restriction, ironically it's made it better. They've put the restriction on the energy deployment, which is utter turd. Here's the launch. Sorry, they're just trying to replay the MotoGP launch. Bezzecchi is second, on the second row. He's sixth actually, outside the second row. He's already fourth in the break and goes to the third in the break in turn one. Mark got a hell of a launch. No one's beating Mark on that launch. Bezzecchi down the inside of Aldegear. Bagnai got bullied by 3-4 of him in turn one. That's Bagnai's problem. He gets pushed out too much to turn 1 and 2. Again, he just gets bullied. Yeah, what's that about Formula 1? Oh, yeah. So ironically, they've put a restriction on using less energy because it'll be dangerous with the amount of energy basically they're conserving or are able to conserve this weekend will cause acceleration problems with the engine because of how much they're accelerating. So imagine the turbo lag in the 80s. Imagine that but with electrical power, so it's more unpredictable really. that would happen a lot, and a lot of people would be in the wall. So they put a restriction on it because they couldn't, and they put a restriction on the harvesting as well, which means the drivers can brake normally as they would when pushing the car, and they save enough energy, they save enough battery deployment. The compression ratio of all cars must now be no greater than 116 rather than legal Mercedes having 118 at the start of the season. Yeah, but then what we're going to do? What are you going to say if? I mean, I'm glad it's that, but then imagine Mercedes is a 1-2 on the grid. Then it can't be purely the engine, can it? Then it's everything. Then it's the whole package. But again, this isn't the ideal track to see the differences. The track's like, what's after Monaco? Is it Barcelona? Yeah, tracks like Barcelona, you'll really see the difference if it's made a difference. That'll be the big one. Monaco again is an anomaly because of the characteristics of the circuit itself. They still haven't done the sprint podium. I don't know why it takes so long to do this. Oh, yeah, but I'm glad the cars are alive. So as I was saying, the drivers can brake as they would when they're pushing a normal Formula 1 car, as they should, and they can conserve enough battery energy doing that, so they don't have to do this ridiculous lifting off. They don't have to. They can race normally, which I think is made. It's shown how alive the cars can become, which is a positive. And we've been waiting for it all season. It's funny that Monaco, which is the one I normally slate, Monaco is the one showing that, but I just want to hear Mark's interview. Mark doesn't look tired at all. Yeah, there you go. As we said, Mark's strategy was push at the beginning, the first 3 corners, and then Chewy arse shake. Hi, Pav. Yeah, that's interesting. Give him to it. Marquez not played out his chances for the race tomorrow on the Sunday as he was before coming into the weekend and after qualifying. Fascinating that, because I think he's now seen he can go at that pace and actually pull a gap. And I think that's actually a surprise to him. He looked very calm, but that's a surprise to him, I believe, that he could pull a gap that much. If the cars have now been equalised in power output as driver talent, none of that matters, and that in case George Russell will be nowhere near the top 6. 4 eyes. Hello, Flat. Yeah, my eye hurts. I'm wearing these weird things. He's cool like a cucumber. Yeah, but again, the thing is, I don't understand these engines enough to know how much of a difference the 116 to 118 compression ratio will make. And I don't think a lot of people do. I mean, I do think the engine was illegal. I stand by that, because clearly they were the only ones running differently, and look at the difference it made. But I'm intrigued to see. But again, Monaco is not going to be the one to spot that. That's going to be Barcelona. He's cool like a cucumber. He correctly was. Good. Well done. That's good. Flack, can you go up in the chat and you see Ben did a message about have you been waiting? Have you heard Nilo waiting? Can you pin that one? Because that's Scott's new single that's out. Thanks, mate. But yeah, so I do think there was. The fan in me is hoping there's a little bit of a pullback with the Mercedes engine purely because I've not had a single bit of entertainment from Formula 1 this season. It's been utterly dreadful. And if it's all 1/16th, then it's all fair running. If it gets deemed legal and they carry on with it and actually there's no difference, then the other teams will just do the exact same thing. But then at the same time, what's the point if they confirm... This is the mess Formula 1 in. Is that flack from school? That is flack from school, yeah. If they confirm the rules for next year... What's the point of making the ratio for 1/16 for this year if the engines are going to change again next year because of the rules? I am flat from school, yeah. So I don't know. I think if they're allowed to keep 1/16, but then when are the temperature? There's a temperature rule coming in, and when's that coming in? I don't actually know when that's coming because that could change things up as well. How much the engines are burning. Abuela puta mierda. Yeah, perhaps just swearing in Spanish when I really can't speak Spanish. I can't speak Spanish, I just learned those ones. Go on, Monaco predictions. Qualifying top 3. I want to see a Ferrari in the top 3 and Max in the top 3. What's going to annoy me? How many times, should we do a bet? How many times are the cameras going to go on Kim Kardashian? The fact that Kimmy had 1 second over P5. Is that what it was in FP3? Oh yeah, yeah, but then Behrman. Yeah, but I mean, so that's not gonna. The ones outside the top six aren't gonna be anywhere near, are they? That's what I mean. There's not gonna make the difference we're looking for. Actually, is between the Mercedes and the cars behind. That's the difference we're looking for because the gaps behind Mercedes aren't going to change. It's just with is this engine change that came in allegedly came in. There's been nothing actually officially confirmed. I don't think, but keep me off it. Yeah, but I mean in FP1 and FP2, I think they said the one who's leading FP1 are 3 tenths over P2 then, and the same with P2. Where was head prefect in FP3? I was asleep. I don't know. If anyone doesn't know, he calls the head prefect George Russell. I don't know where he was in FP3. I really can't remember. Probably top 3 or top 4. But yeah, so we're not looking at the gaps between the cars behind the Mercedes. We're looking at the gap between the Mercedes and the cars behind them. If they've gone back, oh, Mansell go. Here we go. If they've gone back to the cars behind, if they haven't, then this alleged change that happened on June the 1st makes no difference. I do have a feeling it's still going to be Antonelli on pole. I just have that feeling. I think Antonelli will be on pole, and I think who's going to go on the wall? Someone's going to clip the wall. If I say this, if nobody clips the wall and they're out of qualifying, these cars are too easy to drive. Because when they're showing right now the Senna's onboard lap in 1990 around Monaco. Give me these cars all day long when it comes to the talent it needs to drive these cars. Because these cars nowadays, I think, are too easy. That's why I'm glad to see them hopping more this year at Monaco and a bit more chance to drive and a bit more. They're sliding more at the rear because you need skill to drive. You should need skill to drive a Formula 1 car around Monaco. Is that really the case? Not for a long time. Oh, the Bianchi's point as well in the Marussia. That's 2014. God, I'm old. What year did Leclerc win here? It was 24. It was 2024. Yeah. That time Ferrari won, wasn't it? When was Ferrari's last win? Was it Sainz in Mexico 24? Yeah, it's about time they got another one. About time they got another one. They need that. The sport needs it as well. The sport needs Ferrari at the front. I'll tell you that. Leclerc put it on P1 and then crashed without the red flag. Isn't there a punishment for that now though? If you bring out the red flag, then you lose. Did they change the rules and you lose your fastest time if they do that? But it's happened before. I mean, Pat, were you there when we went through the questions happening on Sunday at the race party or the watch party, and they said that Schumacher spun on his lap in qualifying in 06. I was like, no, he didn't. What have I just read? 01628 is the phone number of our local animal rescue centre. This is where the fake goats go to. Bloody hell. I told them the reason why you don't like Mansell. They do know. The Pav does know the reason. Dustbin Dan the Williams man. The reason is well known. Stan, tell Cody to come and steal his cars. Oh, he's selling them. I think we're keeping one of them. They're too expensive, mate. They're far too expensive. Go on, ask him in the chat. There you go. Put him in the chat now. Ask Curly Tops 211218. Speaking of waiting, there we go. Thank you, Flack. That's why you're my mod, mate. Ask him. My dad will build a. So basically, we're gonna get Pav's little boy to start racing when he's from young, and we all know one person who can build it. There you go. There's your task. But yeah, there's the question on Claude AI. Claude could build one. That's the thing. Claude could easily. Why is my mic so loud? Is that better? I think that's better. No, I can see the mic going in the red bar, which annoys me when it happens. Not selling them anymore. Oh, shock! Imagine my surprise that for the 4th time you decided not to sell them. Expected. I knew you'd keep them anyway. No one's actually giving me corner predictions. Give me predictions. I need to talk about predictions. I gave mine. No, I didn't. I was still trying to think of. I went on a rant about if no one hits the wall, then the cars are too easy to drive. Antonelli. I actually think Hamilton's going to be the top 3. Yeah, he's going to get that Kim bloody Kardashian power, and he's been quick this weekend. Actually, I think he hasn't actually got a solid lap altogether where he's hooked it all up. My prediction for quality, go on, P1 Kimi. Yeah, same. So yeah, I also think Hamilton's going to be the top 3. Oh, both Ferraris in the top 3. I'm not against it. Pav, are you in Bartok? Are you both in the storage or comms room? Get him in the chat. Need his Hungarian power. His Hungarian opinion. Yeah, get him to make his own one. Get him in the bloody thing. Also, Ben, go on. I know you're still here. Give me yours. I know you're a Max fan now as well. So anyone doesn't know, I saw Ben yesterday, and the whole time he spoke about how good Max Verstappen is. This guy used to hate Max, and then he met me, and then I made him actually use his brain. Kimi, Max. You think Max is second on the grid? That's brave. Max, Charles, Lewis, Lando. You think so? None of you think Russell's going to be top 4? I love this. You pay this fee to watch Sky F1 in this country. McLaren's have been really good. Did you hear they got fined? I'm also on GT7. Watched the F1. Oh yeah, it's your race day there. Did you hear McLaren got fined? Remember when they broke down yesterday in practice? They got fined because you know the button where when the car's stuck in gear, you hit the button on the front panel, and it goes into neutral. McLaren put tape over it for an aerodynamic benefit, so the marshals couldn't find the button, and they got fined £30,000 or euros for it. I also said in my podcast that I think Colapinto will hit the wall. He's hit the wall multiple times. The fact that he's managed to hit the wall 4 or 5 times and actually bounce off of it and carry on is very impressive, but he has not let me down yet with the prediction of him going to scrape the wall. Maybe he'll be the first one to actually go in and hit the wall. They're showing on the replay. I love how you pay this. Watch Martin Bowler and Anthony Davidson talk about how to drive Monaco. But you have a Piastri clipping the wall, Portier in between Portier 1 and 2. I remember when do you remember the old guys remember this? The run between Portier 1 and 2, there used to be like instead of the wall there, you used to be able to have that little run off there, didn't you, where people would break down and go into. I wonder why they covered that. I mean, they've ruined a few things in Monaco, because now when you come out the tunnel, you no longer have that blinding sensation, because there's that weird, massive boat building there, which just, I don't like. I think it's ugly. Oh, look at this. This is what you call a good timing screen. Easy to move. It will update very quickly as well, like the MotoGP one. Stan, Adam said he knows you're a huge Kardashian fan. Yeah, of course I am. Yeah. I don't care about them, but they're bringing that into Formula 1. Great. Good for them. Again, the fact that we're going to Formula 1, then the Kardashian is mentioned, is like, okay, accept the new era of Formula 1, which is this. Well done. Fair play. Overtake activations. Yeah, I've had to play the new F1 game to actually realise what this means. I now know what it means. The drivers, they don't have to do anything differently, they just hit the boost and they give extra power. That's what that is. But yeah, if anyone doesn't know, F1 have no straight line mode this weekend. The wings are staying shut. I'm not against that. I think it's actually beneficial because now no one's going to have this weird... The thing is with straight line I don't understand is where's the benefit if they all have it? That's why DRS kind of worked in some races, because one driver attacking could have that little benefit. Curly Tops loves Nigel Mansell. Oh, God. Redeemed highlights. Oh, you put it as a highlight as well. He doesn't know what that means, but he's going to see that and he's going to buy it because he can't help himself. What is the reason why you don't like Mansell? Actually, no, I'd say... Right, put it... Word that carefully in the chat, Father. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on in the qualifying thing, because I'm still listening to Anthony Davidson and Brundle talking in my ear about the... There's the Behrman shunt. I don't think he was unlucky. The thing is, right, here's what I don't understand. I messaged my brother yesterday, and I said, is it me, or is this younger crop of drivers just not, they're good, they're not quite the hype what people are bigging up to be. Because I watched Hajar's crash the other day when it happened. Yesterday, and people saying, "Oh, I was distracted." Blah blah. I get it. Great, you're distracted. You're driving bloody Monaco in a Formula One car. You're going to be distracted by all the walls around you. He just carried too much speed into swimming pool 15. Carried too much speed is why he lost the rear and went in the water at 16. Probably, Pav, probably was. But probably was. But at the same time, it's like, why now is there always a reason why a driver crashes? What happened to the days when the driver lost it and hit the wall because they went too fast, because they made a mistake, they carried too much speed in. And it's the same with Behrman there. They were defending him in practice. It was like, oh, he tried to do this line, got distracted maybe by the car in front. Of course, you get distracted. It's your job to deal with the distractions. He just went offline on the entry and went, again, carried too much speed for what the car can do and went in. Why there now is there always a reason why a driver has a crash? What happened to days where a driver's crashed because he lost the car from something he was doing? Don't understand it. Don't understand it. I think this stems from the fact that the cars are unpredictable with sort of events. No. That's different. Max is one, and Max's Piastri, Stroll's had a couple. When it happens like that under braking, when the rears are locking this year, and Piastri's on the exit, is because of the. That's where the power surges come in, the electrical surges are coming in. And that's different. The crashes that have happened this weekend with Hajar and stop highlighting that. Hajar and Behrman, they've just carried. It's got nothing to do with the power output. They've just lost it because they've lost it mid corner to exit. They're not on neither one. Hajar just carried too much speed into 15 and then lost it into 16 because the car couldn't get its grip. That's his fault. Behrman carried too much speed up the hill into turn 3. The car couldn't grip. They're driving a Haas. It's not going to grip. His fault. I don't understand why there's all these defending on the crashes. No finesse whatsoever. Big ugly brute, a bully, full of shit people don't know. And then Frank Williams stood up to be stunk off a Formula IndyCar rubbish. Oh, is this Mansell? Oh yeah, okay. I mean, you've worded that okay. I've heard you say many things. You say no finesse whatsoever, but then how many drivers had? Take away Senna. How many drivers had finesse in the 80s? Because you're on about Mansell in the mid 80s. Mansell, yeah, he didn't have finesse, but he was a brute, and he was a brute that could drive. You can't deny that he could drive a car. Hence, Dustbin Dan the Williams. I do love that nickname. It is a funny nickname. Go on, who do we think is going to cause... Because I reckon it'd be a red flag. Who's going to cause the first red flag? Mansell was underrated. Yeah, Pav is rage baiting my father massively. And the thing is, he doesn't know what rage baiting means, so he's going to reply to every single one. Prediction started. Win channel points of view to make the... Is that you, Flag? Thanks for doing that. I don't know what you're doing. Pav, Mansell wasn't a Ferrari, you donkey. See, now look what you've done. Now I know what's going to happen, because you've just made that mistake of saying he should be in a Ferrari. He wasn't a Ferrari. He got sacked from Ferrari, but he wasn't a Ferrari. Predictive channel points. Go on, do the prediction. This is why I got Flack here. Flack's an expert when it comes to this. I don't know what channel points means. So you do you. If you want to get involved in that prediction, let's go do it. If you don't want to get involved, put it in the chat. How long have we got? 8 minutes. They're waffling on in this qualifying. We're all just waiting. I don't want to listen. Actually, Bernie Collins, I take back. She's very good, actually, on Sky F1. She would be the one I would listen to alongside Jensen Button. Thankfully, he's there as well this weekend. The others, I don't need to listen to. I don't think they bring any benefits. It's interesting how no one here thinks Russell's going to be in the top 4. I think that's interesting. I reckon he'll be in the top 4. Because I don't think the thing that's coming with the Mercedes engine, I don't think is going to make an effect, a big one, now, this weekend. What are the lap? I don't actually know what the lap record is in Monaco anymore. I remember it is stuck 2005. I know Kurtos is typing out along. You know, I know. I know. You know, you could take the keyboard away from him. He can't help it. He really can't help it. What's he on? Who was pole position last year? What McLaren? Was it Norris pole? It was Norris pole, wasn't it? Yeah, because last year there was only one overtaking. It was Stroll. Lance Stroll. I don't think Stroll was going fast enough this year in Aston Martin to actually make an effect, a red flag or a lap time. So the Aston Martin boys are currently earning the easiest paychecks that's ever happened in Formula One because they're literally going around for 10 laps. The car's breaking down, or they're getting too much vibrations, and then they retire. That's the crazy thing they're doing this year, and I think it's staggering they're still doing it. They haven't figured it out yet. I've not figured it out, but I don't think they've made steps to do it. I've decided to retire gracefully before my son tells me off. Yeah, because I know you can be outrageous with your words towards Mansell sometimes. You can type in the chat. Just don't let Pav rage bait you, which is what he's doing. Rage baiting means Pav's purposely annoying you to get a reaction. It's funny that I've explained that in the stream. That's making me laugh. What do you mean, Pav who? You know Pav, you've met Pav. Pavel. The one who's asked you the one who's telling you all these Mansell things is Pav. Who I now guarantee is laughing at his phone right now. The fact that you didn't know it was him all along. I think the sport really needs a different coloured car on the grid. We've had Mercedes. It's been every race, isn't it? They need the red car. They need the Red Bull car. They need the orange car. They need another car now on pole. We can't have another consecutive pole and race win being the same team. What round is this? 7 or 8? Anyone know? Oh, clever. You're being clever. Wow. Didn't know you had that in you. Is this round 7 or 8? I honestly don't know what round this is, but every round has had a Mercedes on pole. That needs changing. For entertainment reasons, that needs changing. I've also got to change the speed of this timing now, haven't I? Where's my mouse? Pav, is Bartok in yet or not? What's he doing? Get him in. Or has he actually got things to do? Dun, dun, dun. Here we go. There's Coffee's voice, so I couldn't go without hearing, but yeah, no, here we are. Pole position is 133 out of the 71 races at Monaco. That's surprising. I thought that would be a lot higher. I thought it'd be in the 40s. How is that happened where the pole was lost that many times? No active aero. Of course there's not. Of course there's not. OMG qualifying. OMG so excited. OMG Formula 1 is back. Formula 1 is on our screens. And the drivers can actually brake late now this weekend. So embrace this, because this might be the only time this season we see drivers not lifting off into a corner to, when they're braking. So let's embrace it. My mic's annoying me. Let's embrace it. And if it's the same result as it's been all season, sport's washed. Absolutely washed. Right, I need to pause this and time this to the screen. 23 degrees in Monaco. Should we all make it like a group, organise a group outing next year to Monaco? I do want to go to Monaco. Yes, Dad, I know you've been there already, twice. I haven't. I've never been. You paying, sure. Imagine I had that much I could pay for Oscar Monaco. If I had the money to do it, I would. However, not there yet. Really not there yet. I said that. I said even though you've had, you married my mum, and you've had children, nothing will top the day in Monaco. Also, why is odd how this one... Is it just me, or is it odd how this one is in June? I suppose every year they do it end of May. I don't know why they pushed this one back. Because they pushed Canada back as well, but I don't know if that was from the initial plans. So I don't know what prompted that change for the first time. It's like a tradition change. It's very odd. Come on, get the cars out on track. What we got? 1 minute. Mercedes are so far ahead in the standings. Ferrari is second, McLaren third still, despite this. Well, actually, no one's going to compete with them. It's always held on Ascension weekend in Monaco. Yeah, but how come that's always been the end of May and now suddenly this year it's changed to June? The first weekend in June. Right, I love this timing screen. You're going to see how much easier it is. You can't see it on the screen, but I can just pause it down here and play it. See? See when dark and light? The MotoGP one doesn't let me do that. Especially when I pause it and I have to wait for the dots to finish the sector they're in. So annoying. A lot of Ferrari fans, those grandstands. A lot of Ferrari fans. Of course there is. There's always Ferrari fans. I do love that it's Monaco Grand Prix weekend. You can see suddenly the harbour is full of the most amount of money you're ever going to see in a tiny place the size of Stratford. These weird places. I do love that grandstand in the middle of a swimming pool, which is on the water. You look over the side, you're looking into the water. No thanks. Absolutely not. Cars are on track. Obviously not on the screen. I'm just going to pause it real quick so I can actually, match the timings with the screen itself. They've changed the livery this week, haven't they? Aston Martin. They've gone for this whole. I don't know what it means. They've gone for the whole front of the car is now black instead of green. I don't know the meaning of it. I also think it looks ugly. Let's go to Monaco. My Lombard salary definitely means I can afford that. Yeah, honestly, Ben, same. Same. We all can. Absolutely all can. They truly are the greatest championship at Marquez deserve. They were. Things I was saying earlier. I think they've got the chassis and the aero bang on. I really like the cars, how they're behaving. It's just they got the engine so wrong. But we're going to try a positive outlook for them this weekend since they're not having to lift off every corner. Should I book the yacht? Yes, you should, Ben. Yes, you should. Actually, I forget the price of. I know the word's not parking your boat, but I'm going to call it parking your boat. I forget the cost of doing it for the Monaco weekend, but I imagine it's many hundreds of thousands. Predictions in the chat, who's putting it in the wall? I'm still saying Colapinto, because he's done it multiple times. Mooring, thank you. Thank you, Chef Ben Gaming, thank you. Nautical term. I avoid nautical terms like the plague, like I avoid the ocean like the plague. But I forget the cost, how much it is. Hopefully the head prefect, again, anyone doesn't know, Curly Tots refers to the head prefect as George Russell. Anyone who went to school in England knows what a prefect is, or a head prefect. All tune in tomorrow night to watch me lose my race. What time's your race tomorrow? You need to get up Gran Turismo, mate. You need to upgrade. I told you. Where's the timings? Have I actually gone behind the real timing? I haven't, no. See, I can pause it now. I know my time. 8 PM. Yeah, okay. I don't think I'd be streaming at that point, Ben. Otherwise I would have raided you. You got a Red Bull livery, of course you do. I think I should drive the Mercedes as well. See, look how much better this timing screen is. You can see the sector times. There's Kim. It took 1.5 minutes for the cameras to go on Kim Kardashian. 1.5 minutes. Yeah, of course it's I need to be the Merc as well with the Red Bull livery. There you go. We can get the shot's gone out of the way now. Grand. Happy for them. Couldn't care less. Keep the cameras on the cars. Yeah, another thing they said. Do you remember back in the old days when they came out the tunnel, you used to see that big like stone wall? They've now covered that with buildings and advertisements. You can't even see that. And Portier too. You can't even see the ocean on the exit anymore. Because now it's just they've covered it because it's like a property land there now, so you can't show it without having to pay them to show it. Which again, it just sums up the modern day world, really, doesn't it? Oh, I'm so happy using time screens. So everyone doesn't know. You can see the time screens on the left. You can see a load of green numbers, a load of purple numbers. The green numbers are the driver's personal best sector times, and you'll see the full best lap time. Green means their personal best lap time. Purple means the fastest in that session. Now, it's early doors, so it's not going to stay there. But you can currently see Sergio Perez has the purple best lap. That means the best lap of the session. Norris has the purple sector 1. No one's on quicker than him in sector 1. That's for those who don't know how this time scheme works. Again, it's much easier to read, it's clearer, I much prefer it. Let's hope MotoGP and Liberty Media do something positive and take this over. Limblab the fastest last sector. Won't mean much at the minute, they're going to happen, but it won't be much at the minute because everyone's now, what they'll do is they'll load a few laps of fuel on board and go round and round. Because Monaco, you can see by the track map, there's not a lot of gaps. There's not a lot of space in the track to make that gap they need to the car in front and then push for a lap. So they're going to load with a few laps of fuel, go round and round, probably 3 or 4 laps, round and round, one push lap, one off lap, one push lap, one off lap, pit and go again. Of course, this will be the most chaotic session because, of course, every car is on track. Not every 22 cars. All 22 cars are on track at the same time at some point. So this will be the most chaotic Q3. Of course, there'll be just 10s. That's where we see easy to find room. But this will be the chaos session. Behrman has made it out on qualifying, so they did repair the car in time for him to be out. Whether or not it will be the setup he likes, or whether it was a rush build, we'll find out. At a minute, purple middle sector with a 35.6 for Ollie Behrman. That will be beat. And it won't be long to its beat. Gasly across the line 18.5. Behrman goes top of a 59. That's the first kind of okay lap. That again will be comfortably beat as Russell, I think. Well, not Russell. I think a few drivers of FP3 managed to dip into the 113. So that's going to be, the pole time will be probably a mid 13, I predict. Gasly already closed the wall coming out of the Casino Square. I do love the little dip down. They've covered the curb with tarmac now, which I don't know, but there used to be a nice curve at the inside of Casino Square. That's now been covered, but I guess they're getting close. But I do love the bump down in Casino Square. As I was going to say, Leclerc purple in sector 1, he goes to the tunnel now. These cars are good when they're pushing. Agile Team Radio, it's the worst prep ever. What's going on? Let me tell you something about Agile. He's talented, he's fast, he's got to calm it down on the radio. He really does. Like, it's Q1, there's 12 minutes there. Why are you yelling this early on? Come on. Ben Money just prepared his car for Friday. Let's be a bit quiet. They all clipped the curb that Anthony knows called Anthony knows, by the way, the last corner. I didn't expect this many drivers to clip the curb. Leclerc P1, what is that, a 14.1 and Norris a 14.2. Here come the lap times now. Norris with a purple sector 3 as well. The lap times are just going to drop and drop. Maybe I'm wrong. The fact they're only a 41, maybe I'm wrong with a mid 13 being a pole position prediction later on. Anthony's well up again. People who don't know, you're going to see some points going to say they're 2 seconds up. That's at this session. That's going to be compared to the driver who is in 16th. The 16th is the cut-off, or 15th is the cut-off to go to Q2. So in a minute, it's going to be Valtteri Bottas in 15th, and they're going to match the times to that before P1. Oscar Piastri's 5th. He'll go again quicker than that. Antonelli 3rd, a purple last sector of a 19.6 in 3rd of a 14.3. So the top 3 is a 14.1, 14.2, and a 14.3. Russell goes 10th, so he's going to have to go. Again, that's going to be a warm-up lap. Verstappen's clearly being held up. He's going to back off from that lap. He's been held in Raskas by the second Red Bull team. I forget their name now. I still want to call them Toro Rosso. I might just keep calling them Toro Rosso because I can't be asked to call them Viva Cash App, RB, whatever. Far too much of a mouthful. Bortoletto P5, purple set to 1.5 a second after Leclerc's time. Hajar's under the tunnel. He stopped yelling on the radio now. So you're going to see now. You can't. If you watched it on your own screen, you see they blinded there, but nowhere near as bad as it used to be. They've taken away half that challenge because that big bit on the left. You bump up the curb here, come out the exit of the Nouveau chicane, stick to the right side of the track, get front into Tabak. You need commitment on the front end to get into Tabak. Clip the first one on the left, miss it. There you go. He could use more track on the exit of Tabak as well. Flies into swim pool. He's 8.5 tenths up on Alonso, who must be in 15th. He's been bumped down now by Sergio Perez. 16th to Carl Sainz, 5th used to be 15th, now it's 16th. Max Verstappen, purple sector 1. What did he do in sector 1? It's a 19.4 by Max in sector 1. Hadjar comes out of nose along the main straight. What's he going to do? He needs to get a 62 to stay in the top 16 to progress. a 15.0. That's P9. That he needs to do faster than that. I think that'll get done later on as the track develops. Cameras on Max at the new chicane coming out into Tabac corner now. He's going to have traffic in front of him. One's going to be George Russell. They need to get out of the way between Tabac and swimming pool. You imagine Russell hasn't got out of the way. This is going to be Max straight on the radio. He's caught Russell into swimming pool. Russell's got out of the way and he inside the swimming pool. But he's met another Viva Cash App RB car between swimming pool and Rascas. That's going to be held up there as well. His purple sectors have gone because Leclerc's done the purple sector one, but 19.2. Max comes around Antonelli. He's lost time in this last sector with this traffic, but he needs to beat at least a 15.7. Goes P5 or 14.5. I mean, it's okay. Hamilton goes P4 or 14.3. Max can go faster than that. Verstappen did get held up in the last sector by 2 or 3 cars. They can all go faster, I reckon. But Leclerc's on the lap now. Leclerc has no cars in front of him. You can see on the track map as he goes into turn 12 of Tabac. What's his middle sector? He did a purple 19.2, a purple sector 2 of a 34.6. This could be a 13. This is what I want to see. 1 minute 13 lap time by the leaders. The camera will be a little closer. He comes around Márquez. Now, we're waiting for him. Lando Norris across the line. He goes P1 by 3.5 temps. A 13.7. Yeah, I was well wrong with a mid-13 pole position time, wasn't I? Well wrong with that. I don't know what I was thinking there, but Claire's going to come to the line after him with 4 temps quicker than that. A 13.39. There you go. Ignore my prediction. Let's go to a mid-12. Why not? Because clearly I was well off with that one. Leclerc nearly 4 temps clear of Norris, who's half a second clear, over half a second clear of Antonelli in third. That's a big gap between second and third, but that's going to come down. Piastri, Messi out of the Rascas and Anthony knows. Messi in the last score has gone to the main straight, up to P3, but 7.5 temps off Charles Leclerc. Ocon crossed the line. He stays 1.6 seconds off. The Audi's 8 and 9th right now. That's a good innings for the Audi. Of course, they got Aston Martin, both of them once again in the elimination zones, but I might call it relegation zones because that actually sounded quite fun. Elimination zones along with both Cadillac, you've got Williams and Colapinto's in there. My prediction is still Colapinto's going to hit the wall first. Understand by that one. Albon just goes 50. He knocks George Russell into the elimination zones. Russell, as he got traffic, Is Russell on the lap? No, Russell's on the line. Russell's backed off, so Russell will have to back off again and go again this lap, but he will encounter traffic this lap, and Verstappen's gone again, but he will encounter traffic again. As Antonelli's also on the lap. Verstappen's just a few things behind him, but they have Hulkenberg between you in front of Verstappen. Antonelli's had to clear Hulkenberg going up the hill, I think, into turn 2. Antonelli's now got a lot of space between himself and Piastri, so he's fine. Verstappen is going to be held by Hulkenberg, but could get him in the tunnel, so it shouldn't affect him that much. Where's Russell? Russell is on a lap. Is he? What's his sector 1 time? Russell coming across now into Mirror by Russell at 19.6. So he's on a lap. He's going to be held up. It's not an impressive sector 1 though by George Russell at all. So he's going to be under pressure later on in the session. Verstappen, as I said, has cleared Hulkenberg in the tunnel, so they won't hold him up that bad. Anthony's not going to get held by Piastri as well. So Piastri, I think, is going to pit or go again. Actually, he could. Piastri might move out the way between areas. You can see move out the way between swimming pool and Márquez. That's very generous. Hamilton a purple middle 2. It's funny, you might say, how are they purple middle 2? But they're 3 temps off of the fastest time. The purple means it was the quickest sector time, not he's on course to beat that line. It's the quickest sector time. So no one's gone quicker than Hamilton in sector 2. But Hamilton's sector 1 was quite poor in 19.6 into Russell's. Max Verstappen goes P4 for 14.0. That's still 7 temps off what the top is. Hamilton goes P3 of 13.8. That's still nearly half a second off. Leclerc and Norris are long clear of him right now. I say Leclerc and Norris. Leclerc's long clear of him right now. Still 3.5 temps clear. Nearly 4 temps clear, in fact. Eyes will be on George Russell, who's had to back off and try and go again. Russell now is clear air. He will catch the likes of Ocon, Piastri and Hamilton, I think, on this lap. But he needs to get this one gone, otherwise he's going to be under pressure when he pits and comes out for maybe 1 or 2 laps. Russell not being in top 4 might have been the right call. Yeah, this is surprising to see him down there. Clearly he's being held up quite often. He has gone up to 10th of a 14.8 though on the lap I just missed. Is a 14.8 I think should be enough. Oh, there's George Russell. That might be wide. George Russell, a massive moment in the rear. The rear's locked into Mirabeau, and he just avoided the ball and he exits up. But wide. Russell might not make Q2. With 14.8, I think he's going to be close. He'll have to go again, I do think. But it all depends on traffic of Q1, doesn't it? But he had a big moment in Mirabeau, lost the rear almost into the wall, the exit of Mirabeau. So that's going to help. Hadjar stays 7th for the lap time, 1 second off. Now they use the tyres too much to improve the time. I said that Norris had a good sector 1. It's just 0.01 off the sector 1 time. But he's in P2 anyway. I need my water. Do you know how good it is? The reason why I did that, do you know how good it is to hear them not lift off on the brake? And the cameras on board of Norris coming out of the tunnel into the Nouveau chicane, and he brakes at 80 metres, 70 metres, at 90 metres, wherever one it is. No lifting off needed. It's so much better. Now, if that's just the case of Monaco, or we have to just restrict the deployment and the harvesting every round, let's do it. Keep it restricted. Even if they lose a second, 2 seconds, who cares? Keep it restricted. If it means they can brake like this and not lift off, keep it how it is. Leclerc, purple material. Norris stays second, but he goes to 13.6. They improves by 1/10 of a second. Colapinto across the line, 18 to 14. We'll need to improve on that. Leclerc's got a middle purple sector coming around. Anthony knows now onto the main straight. A nice slide of the rear. Those tyres are going. Antonelli a purple sector one. That's a quick one. Leclerc across the line. He goes a 10th quicker. That's the 13.2 from Leclerc. Kimi Antonelli's on the lap. He's currently P4. 19.2 in the first sector. Max Verstappen also a 19.2. Keep your eyes on these two. Antonelli comes out of the Nouveau chicane now. Verstappen's also behind him. Russell started his lap as well. Antonelli into the back now. I love this corner. To back. He's lost 3.5 temps. A scrappy middle sector by Kimi Antonelli. He's not going to be this lap. Verstappen only 2 temps off in sector 2. He needs to halve this lap to potentially go into P3, I predict. Can he hold it for them? Marco pole today, time for Max to do the same. Oh, that's optimistic. That's very. Mark has 1R, Max is driving a tractor. I don't know what was more unlikely. Antonelli goes second. He still 50 off, so he gained time in the last sector of the lap. Verstappen goes second. Within 2 temps, he gained time in the last sector. A very good last sector. 19.5 compared to Antonelli. Also did 19.5. I'm surprised Max gained that much time in that one sector, but he's gone second to 13.4. Leclerc still leads with a 13.2. Anthony third of a 13.5, just under a 30.6 mark. Then you got the McLaren, Ferrari, McLaren. Lindblad goes to 9. Lindblad has been very impressive. I think the new Max would win on the donkey. Max would win on the donkey, but he's whatever's worse than the donkey is what he's driving right now. George Russell, only 7th for George Russell, 9 temps off. You may have all been correct in your predictions and not have Russell in the top 4. Fernando Alonso is a 10th up on the cut-off for 16th, which is Liam Lawson. Keep an eye on that. Liam Lawson actually goes 9th, and Lawson not the cut-off. Colapinto is the cut-off. Keep an eye on Fernando Alonso as he comes out of Antonelli. He's going to have a little slipstream onto the main straight. Can Alonso get out of Q2? Bosh. No, he can't. 17th. He tried it. That's 7 temps quicker than what Lance Stroll's doing, but he stays in the knockout zones of Q1. Colapinto's hanging on in 16th. Cameron's on board with Ocon. He's got traffic coming out of the new chicane, and he's going to have loads into the back. His lap's going to be done here. Look, I mean, I'm surprised if people in the yachts are actually watching those cars on track. Normally they don't. Or is it just because the camera's there? We'll see. We'll see. Russell just does not seem to have the pace of the ones in front of him. He's 9 temps off in 7th. Hamilton a good sector 1, but well off in sector 2 again. But they all seem to be losing. Oh, he's bumped that curve hard. They all seem to be losing time in sector 2, which is interesting. I thought there'd be, with the deployment again, the deployment restriction, I thought it'd be similar. But they're all losing time. Max again is one of them who lost a lot of time in sector 2, gained them all back in sector 3. Hamilton's going to do the same if he can do a fast one sector. Now he lost time in the last sector as well. Half a second off, he stays 5th. There you go. Someone got a black and white flag for track limits warning. I don't know who. Nico Hulkenberg in the Audi has just gone P6, which shows there's track evolution. Bottas close to all on the exit. Someone's just gone into. There's a yellow flag somewhere. Someone stopped somewhere. I don't quite know where. Can't see on the track map. Someone got black and white flag. Again, don't know who. Antonelli got a black and white flag. Bortoletto has stopped at the Nouveau chicane. Has he gone into the wall? Has he gone on the runoff and broke down? We need to come see. He's gone into the wall. He's clipped the entry wall of the Nouvelle, and he's done his front left in. Sorry, the steering rod's gone. You can see he's done that. One wheel's pointing left, one wheel's pointing right. He's avoided the wall actually, so he's not damaged the front wall, but he's done his front left in. That is not Anthony Bortoletto out of qualifying. Where's he currently qualified on the grid? He's in 14th. Now the reason why he should be kicking himself even more, we just said his teammate Hulkenberg's gone to P6. Now, of course, this is where the chaos comes in, because we said track evolution. We can see it in Hulkenberg. We can see it in Albon, who's gone up to P9. Track evolution is obviously a thing in Monaco, like it is in every weekend. The camera's just gone on board. 58 brake bars. I love you can see the change in the tunnel. But he's under brakes, going to clip the front left wall. There you go. With the it's a slight clip. It's such a tiny clip, but with that speed, you clip it there. He's broke his steering. Oh, it's a kiss. What it is a kiss. I don't even think he's hit the rub, but he's hit just the exit of that front left. And that's his qualifying done. There is 2 minutes and 11 seconds left on the clock. How many cars now are going to try and get out as quick as they can to get one lap in? And if it's one lap in, it's not ideal preparation, but they've got to be smart with it. This will be chaos coming out of the pits. I reckon the top 6. Top 5. I think the top 5 are safe. But again, look at the likes of the bottom 10. Go from 12th to 22nd. I think they're all going to go again. They're all going to have to go at the same time and push on that outlap to get the lap in. Now the illegal engines on Mercedes have been equalised. Isn't it funny that the massively overrated head prefix is? Just let me check absolutely nowhere. That is the case at the minute, yes. You're not wrong. is the case in a minute. Again, I do still think, and I still remain to say, Barcelona is going to be the better look onto that. Roses are red, the sky is blue, red flag at Monaco, suck him up. Did anyone say Bortoletto for the prediction to hit the wall? I don't think they did. I don't think anyone said Bortoletto. I love the Hulkenberg's put it in sixth there in front of Piastri and Russell. That's a lap from him. But then I didn't see what his lap time was before the track evolution kicked in, so I'm not quite sure how much time he's gained on that lap and how much time the likes of Piastri and Russell would also gain. But 13.9 from an Audi. The engine's still running, which is impressive. They've struggled to do that this year, haven't they? Of course, the back row is currently Aston Martin's Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll. Alonso is 7 tenths ahead of Lance Stroll. Imagine my surprise. I don't even like the look of the Cadillac. I think it's ugly. For anyone who doesn't know, by the way, the reason why the red flag has been cleared so quickly, what happened in FP3 and today, the marshals in Monaco are the greatest marshals on the planet. They can clear any incident in a matter of 5 minutes. They're used to the room they have to work with. They know exactly what they're doing. They've got cranes everywhere at every corner. They have their own marshal group for just this circuit. They're the best on the planet. The red flags will not be for long, and that's one thing you do have to praise Monaco for, is their marshals. Here's the ugly Cadillac car. Nothing impressive about that car. They've all gone at the same time, the Cadillacs. Oh, Perez almost went into the wall actually coming out. Antonelli, as we said, is on the track limit warning. I don't know you can have a track limit warning in qualifying. I didn't know you could get that. He's apparently got it, which is a surprise to me. Pab, did you see the F3 race? I saw the picture. They all froze at the, or they all stopped it. Hulk is top 6 because he wears number 27 and the Lord is shining down on him. Yeah, true. That's one of the reasons why we like Hulk. He's carrying that number. He hasn't got. I'm glad I was there live when he got his one podium. I really enjoyed that. That kind of made up for Max spinning around the British fans. I enjoyed the Hulkenberg podium. Yeah, I saw the picture in the F3 race, as I was saying, where they all just parked at the lowest hairpin and just none of them could move. And I was like, typical F3. I kind of expected the same in F2, as last year happened in Turn 1 at Sandoval. Didn't happen, though. I think F2 got around quite smoothly. So remember when I beat you in Monaco Cup career mode? Yeah, I do. That was a rough session for me, that one. Everyone's got to have a one win. Flack beat me once on an outlap and screenshot it. You know, everyone's got it. Yours was actually fair and square. I was just shite. Flack still has a screenshot of the outlap where his outlap was faster than my outlap by like a minute or like 20 seconds or something, and he still shows me to this day. Like they go around Hyde Park Corner, is what Brundle just said. I'd love it if Hyde Park was like Monaco, imagine that. It's not as fancy. It's nice, it's not as fancy. No, I reckon Bottas should do a Kimi here. Just go into one of the yachts. I don't know if Bottas probably doesn't have a yacht yet, but that's where I'd be. Look at all. Did anyone find out the price of harbour your yacht or your boat next to the track for the weekend? My eyes really hurting me. Really, really irritating me is my right eye. I also like the Red Bull livery. Now that I'm actually focused on F1 this weekend because it's entertaining me, I like the livery. I'm glad they've gone down this route with the gloss look. Price on inquiring. Says it already, doesn't it? Says it all. Also, how plain is that Audi livery? But this is the one Adidas logo in the middle of the nose. 36 seconds till session restarts. Could be chaos. Could be absolutely. I do again predict the top 5 will stay in the game. I'll be surprised if you're in the top 5 now. Why would you risk coming out? It's gonna be chaos. There's gonna be track evolution. I don't think that much, and there's the chances of someone hitting the wall because the preparation hasn't been correct because they're trying to actually get over the line to get the lap in. Very high, very high. Colapinto has squeezed into that coming out the pits. You have the slow lane and the fast lane. You have to make sure you're in the fast lane, otherwise you'll get a penalty. You can squeeze if you're waiting. See when they park, there's always like a car at an angle and a car coming here. If you can get a bit effectively your front axle in front of the car coming in, they have to give you room in the fast lane. It's funny how it's become this, but it's where we are. Here we go green. Cars are on track. Of course, the first two cars are the two Cadillacs. It does make me laugh how in Formula 1 works. The slowest cars are always the first ones back out on track. It's literally like they're cleaning it. Projected cut-off times are 14.5. Oh, that's going to make a lot of them clear. That's going to make everyone from Lawson onwards. That's going to make, if that's correct, the top 12 are going to be fine. So we're looking at like Colapinto, Bortoletti obviously out of qualifying, Lindblad, Ocon, Perez, Behrman, Sainz, Bottas, the Aston Martins, I think we can predict who's going to be. The one who shouldn't be in that Q1 slot right now is Sainz, considering Albon is in 9th. I feel like that's a Jose Mourinho thing. Oh yeah, look, they've aborted Lawson going out. There you go, Hamilton's out the car as well. As expected, there's no point. Let these back markers hassle each other. They've sent Hajar out, Red Bull, which I think is strange. I think it's very strange they've done that with Hajar. I think he's completely safe. Where is Hajar? He's 10th. It's a 14.4. Oh, actually, I didn't realise he's on a 14.4. I take that back. Correct move to send Hajar out. I take that back completely. They've also sent Piastri out but kept Russell in the pits. Interesting. Why are you not subscribed? In fairness, he does give me enough money. That's probably the one person I can't say to do it, because he does give me enough money. I mean, £2.50 extra wouldn't help, you know. But no, he doesn't need to. he pays for other things. It's funny, I always say it, the worst Formula 1 car could still beat any other vehicle around a track. And that's the same with the Cadillac. The Cadillac is absolutely awful, as we know. It's 3 seconds off the pace on average in a race. And it can still be any other vehicle around a racetrack. And that's what always makes me laugh about Formula 1. The session has ended. Checker flag is out, so some drivers won't. Did Colapinto make the line? I don't think he did. Colapinto did not make the lines. So Colapinto is stuck there in 30. He can't improve. So Colapinto could be in trouble here in Q1. The man who is in form in the Alpine team right now is now going to be stressfully looking at the screens. Bottas is on a decent lap for the Cadillac. He's nowhere near getting out of Q1. But it's not a bad lap for him. He's within half a second of Q2 in the minute. Or if he holds this, I mean. Perez has aborted his lap. He's pitted, so that's Perez out in 17th. Close from Perez to get out of Q1 as well. Solid job from him. Bottas comes across the line. He's going to be nowhere near, but he stays 20th of 15.2. Only ahead of the Aston Martin. Surely Aston Martin's are going to be back row again. Ollie Behrman's going to finish his lap, but it's not a very good lap again. That's what I mean. The only one improving right now and needs to improve is Carlos Sainz in 19th. He's just within a 10th. Behrman is putting his head down the struggle for that. Behrman stays 18th. Again, he's struggling since he crashed in FP3. Cameron Carlos Sainz is embarrassing for Sainz. He's out in Q1. In the Williams, he needs to get ahead to push Ocon out. He was just a 10th up on Ocon in Sector 2. Comes across the line in Sector 3. Comes across the line. He goes in P10. Solid from Carlos Sainz. Pushes Ocon out of qualifying. Now Lindblad. Stan, you owe me 50 quid. No, I don't owe you nothing. Who's Bottas out? Ocon. Bottas isn't out. Haas. Both Haases. Ocon 17th. Behrman 19th. Both Haases out. I told you Stroll would be last. You didn't put 50 quid in there. I think we all knew respectfully last Stroll would be last. My mum just messaged me and said glasses. Yeah, they're fake. My right eye's hurting, so I've got some... I think when we did the PCs the other day, the dust went in my eye, because I just got swollen like here. And it's a little bit painful. And I think the dust. Isn't he every race? Yeah, he is. That's why I didn't put 50 quid in it with plan that Stroll will be last. We do have Ocon 17th, both Haases out 17th and 19th, both Cadillacs out 18th for Perez and 20th for Bottas, and of course the last row of the grid is the Aston Martins. They're paying a lot of money to finish last on the grid every session. How long is that going to be kept up for? It's not just me thinking that as well. I'm pretty sure Lawrence Stroll's thinking the same thing. But Lawrence Stroll, since he joined the team, since he bought the team, hasn't actually been able to achieve much. I think that's also saying much. I think that's also saying a lot, sorry. But yes, Mother, I am wearing fake glasses because my eyes are hurting right now. Did I pay for the glasses? No, they're Doer's glasses. So Doer paid for them. Why am I getting roasted for my glasses? I need them right now because my eye hurts. And I didn't know, these glasses are the ones, they have their weird lens in which kind of reflects the light differently, which I've never tried before. If it helps this right eye hurt less at the minute, great. Because I'm going to be staring at a screen all day, so any help I can get. It was close. Lindblad was, I say close, 15-6. No, he was half a tenth clear, actually. Only half a tenth clear for Lindblad. I thought he was going to be comfortably higher than that. Gasly 12th. Colapinto just made it in 14th as well, so both Alpines in. Gasly, it's interesting to see that Gasly's ahead of Colapinto once again this weekend. Blue lens, that's what I wear for computers. But yeah, it's that one. It's exactly the same. Give me Q2 now. Both Williams in the top 10 is interesting. Albon in 9th and Carlos Sainz in 10th. That's good for Williams. They've taken a while. Bear in mind, they sacrificed the whole of last year to focus on the 2026 car, and they came out overweight and very slow. This is probably the first time this season we've seen both Williams kind of competitive to a point where they can maybe reach Q3. Good for them. I mean, it's good to see them up there. They needed to make a comeback after what the words that James Vowles gave out all of last year to make a dog of a machine. It's working now. Who predicted Max in the top 3? Someone predicted Max in to qualify second. Yeah, right in Q1. I don't know if you're going to get the same in Q3 or Q2. Of course, you've got to make Q3 first. I forgot the predictions everyone made already. Me, was it you, Ben? Ben, you could be on track. Could be on track. Oh, Behrman swaying a lot. Was so unlucky. That's what it is. You're saying unlucky, but that's clearly the pace off the Haas because you're both, you're 17th and 19th. So I don't think there's much more any of your drivers could have done. I think Haas. The cameras on Ocon then as they're showing the replay, and Ocon looks surprised as they're coming up. I think Haas just dropped the car in the garage there. I'm convinced it came off the trolley then. Right, do you remember, anyone who was here at the start of the session, do you remember I said, why are we always defending these drivers, especially these younger drivers, when they're crashing? The camera's got the Davidson's on the TV right now. Classic Anthony Davidson's on the TV right now. They're showing them the Skypad thing, his crash where he hit the inside of the chicane. He's paused it when Bortoletto starts to turn in. Now, of course, you want your front left as close to that inside barrier as you can get. He's paused it. There's a car in front of Bortoletto who's gone over the runoff. He's about to come out of the runoff, so he's already gone through the Nürburgring chicane. He's passed the runoff, and he's paused it and gone. Maybe Bortoletto was a bit distracted by the car in front of him. It's their job to deal with the distractions. Bortoletto crashed because he made a mistake and went in too early to the apex and clipped the wall. End of. Let them make the mistakes and crash. Doesn't need to be a reason for it every time. But we've gone down that rabbit hole now of it happening every time. Oh, Behrman had a moment over swimming pool. He was committed there, hit the curb, and the rear wasn't having it. Happens, he held it well. Again, the car's unsettled over the bump. His fault, because he hit the front. He took too much of that first curb at swimming pool, and he corrected it and carried on. Why does Bortoletto need a reason that he was distracted by another car? You're around these cars all the time. They crash because they crashed. End of. Exactly. They're around. Their job is to be around these cars all the time. They're distracted by everything, but they learn how to deal with distractions. Stop putting this reasoning as to why they're crashing. Bortoletto clearly turned in too early to the apex, clipped the wall. He made a mistake. End of. He crashed. Same with Hadjar on Friday, made a mistake at swimming pool, carried too much speed. Same with Behrman in FP3, carried too much speed, hit the wall. It happens, it's racing, you're driving a Formula 1 car at the limit. Because they can drive at the limit this weekend. That's probably why there's been more actual crashes this weekend, because they're driving at the limit. And it's good to see us stand on that hill. Oh, there's the famous yacht with the big 3 poles. I forget who owns that one, but someone owns it. Someone we honour their name off, I don't remember who. But it's there every year in Monaco, always in the distance. It's huge. That's absolutely massive. There are boats coming out of that boat. Bezos, is that Bezos's? There we go. That'll be why. It's giant. It's embarrassingly big. Huge. Clip that, because that's a very funny out of context term you can now use. Give us a green light. Give us Q2. There's the green light. There's the one we wanted. Q2 is now underway. Gasly's the one leading them back out this time. Actually, both Alpines has got. They've changed their front nose, the Alpine. I've just noticed. That's a much slimmer body of the nose than before. That's interesting to bring an upgrade now. Or maybe that was upgraded at Canada. We have Max Verstappen almost running over people in the exit. And then almost getting hit by a car as well. He's moaning at the Williams mechanic that's fair. He's let Sainz go in front of Verstappen. That could have been a big contact. Sainz not for an unsafe release. See, what I don't understand with the punishments for these unsafe releases, and when they do it in the race as well, I never agree with the driver in the race getting a penalty for an unsafe release from the pits. I think it should be a punishment for the team. Because the drivers are just being told what to do at that point. When the light goes green, they can't see where the cars are coming. So why should the driver get a 5-second penalty? Give it to the team. And before you say it's a team sport, great. But if it's like that, what can the driver? When the driver has no capability to change any of it, like what are they doing? Oh, brand new softs above Mercedes as well. It's always nice and how shiny they are. They do about 4 corners and the shine goes. God, the speed they come to swimming pool is brilliant. Over the curve, Max is about to start his lap coming through Raskas into round Raskas now. As you know, is he going to have traffic? Of course, he's going to have at least 4 or 5 cars in front of him. Colapinto is one of them. Colapinto is also on a lap though, but he is going to come across both Mercedes drivers. The camera is staying on Max. Maybe we're going to have an onboard lap now. Max, is he pushing? No, he's not pushing. You can tell he's not pushing. Hi. You can tell he's not pushing. Going up the hill now, I think he's going to do 2 corner laps. The driver is there to drive, mechanic to tell him where to go. Why they punish the driver for something out of their control? Yeah, I don't understand why. I've always said that. It should be a fine or deduct a few points from the team or something. I don't... Because that's the driver... I understand where it's like... The driver's got a stop go and they get penalised again because the mechanic touched him in the body. Oh, Max is pushed. Purple sector 1. It's a 20.2. I don't remember the starting sectors of Q1, so I don't know if this is a push lap or not still. I don't think it is. Yeah, when the mechanic touches the car, they both get penalised again because they're getting penalised initially for the driver mistake, and then the mechanic makes mistakes, that's fine. When the driver has no control when to be released from the pitch because he can't see when the cars are coming and is following a green light, which is controlled by a human, I don't understand why the drivers are punished for that. I really don't. Gasly off the line with 20.2 from Gasly. That shows they're all warming up still. They've got to do the 3 or 4 laps to get into the rhythm again. Mercedes are starting their laps as well as Russell goes into turn 1 behind Norris. I think Norris is just starting his lap as well. So all the cars are going to bunch together. Verstappen's going to go again. That was obviously a warm-up lap for him too. I said it was at first fast sector 1 for Verstappen. I can't remember the first ones. No, it wasn't because Leclerc's done a 19.7. Nicola could feel everything in the car because of his ass. He could. Classic scene of rush there. How do you know that? My ass. Actually, I need to watch that film again, actually. There's so many things in that film. It's better than the F1 film, though, I'll say that. At least, you know, when the racing scenes at Rush, they're all filmed at Brands Hatch, you can tell. You know, they're not trying to tell me that someone's flipped the car at Monza and ended up in Kent in Brands Hatch. Do what you want with that. God gave him no game mind, but a really good ass that can film everything in a car. Fact. Oh, Max's rear is sliding under braking. I've noticed that a lot this weekend. They're locking the rears more. They're all running the brake bias more rearwards in these cars, which is fascinating. Hence why we're seeing more of the sliding. We're seeing more of the cars moving on the braking. Max is flat for his swimming pool, as he would be, of course, in these cars. Someone's beat his purple sector 1, which is Charles Leclerc at 19.2 compared to Max. What was Max's sector 1? At 19.2 as well, so they're very close. But Leclerc pipped him by just 1/100th of a second. Leclerc at 18.8 across the line. That'll get beat. Obviously, they're still warm up. Verstappen's come to the last corner now onto the main straight. Crossed the line. It's going to be a 1 minute 12 of 13.2. That's competitive. Very competitive by Max Verstappen. Leclerc now, his purple one's been beat by Isaac Hadjar is on purple in sector 1. Solid from Hadjar. The camera's now on board with Leclerc coming down the tunnel into Nürburgring chicane. Perfect, just clipped the wall on the left, but he cleans that. Antonelli goes into 5th. Lawson third of 14.0. Sainz into 2nd of 13.9. That's a good lap from Carlos Sainz. Leclerc purple middle. He's up on Verstappen's time in sector 2 by 2.5 tenths of a second. The Ferraris now coming alive. And then he became... Oh, God. Yeah, old Pab. He did become fried chicken in Nürburgring. Hamilton just up on Verstappen's time as well. The Ferraris are coming over now. Leclerc a nice slide to come out the last corner onto the main straight. He needs to beat a 13.2, and Charles Leclerc comes across the line for 12.9. Purple last sector beats Verstappen's time easily by nearly 0.3 of a second. Hamilton now onto the main straight. He's purple in 2. Can he beat his teammate Leclerc's time for 12.9? Hamilton with 13.0 has to set up a second behind his teammate Charles Leclerc. I'm going to breathe now. Piastri, where's Piastri now? Piastri comes alive in second. That's good from Piastri. A 13.0 is a good lap from Leclerc. Good from Piastri. Just half a tenth off. No, just over a tenth off Leclerc actually. Had Jones to P4 for 31. He beats Verstappen's time for 13.2. That's rare to see. Verstappen will have to go again with that. He's down to P5. P6 as Lando Norris goes P1 with a 12.9. Now, before you say, you know, with the Mercedes engine rather than the regulations, McLaren are also running a Mercedes engine, so clearly the pace is there. But welcome Lando Norris to the George Russell in 7th with a 13.7, 8 tenths off Lando Norris' time. Hello to Lando Norris, and Russell still struggling. Antonelli along the line. Antonelli P1 at 12.7. Clearly they're still the favourites. Doesn't matter what they're running in that back of that car. I don't think they changed much of a difference around this track. They're still the favourites. Good lap Antonelli at 12.7. That's a purple last sector at 19.2. Hulkenberg actually went quietly into the top 10 there. He's a P10 in that Audi. It's just solid from Nico Hulkenberg as well to get into Q3 above both. I'm going to call them Toro Rossos because I make my own rules. Verstappen purple in sector 1, just within the 10th. Can he hold the lap though? His time seemed to disappear in sector 2. And then we've got both Alpines and a Williams also out in Q2 with Bortoletto. Of course, everyone missed it. Bortoletto did taste the wall, so he's out of qualifying. Verstappen comes out of Portier 2. He's close to the wall in exit 1. Not using the curb, but he exit Portier 2. Floors it down the tunnel. What's the top speed? What are they reaching top speed wise about the as much battery deployment? 175, 177, 179. Yeah, deal with it. I'm fine with that. Keep the restrictions as they are. Get the racing. Let the drivers push on the brakes. No lifting off. He ran the chicane into Tabak. This is fine. He's going to use all the exit he can into Tabak along the wall into swimming pool. He's lost a bit of time to Antonelli again, but he's within a tenth and a half of Antonelli coming in sector 2. Swimming pool. I remember his sector in 2023. We secured him pole at this sector. He was phenomenal there. Clips the inside of Raskas into Anthony nose. Now coming onto the last corner. He's going to bomb the throttle down this line. No straight light mode. Remember, so it's all power down this straight. Verstappen crosses the line. He was 7th. He now goes P2 at 12.8, just a tenth off Kimi Antonelli. Within a tenth, then just over half a tenth of Antonelli. Perfect from Verstappen. Lawson's next one to cross the line. He's not going to be anywhere near the top, of course, but he's challenging Nico Hulkenberg to get into Q3. Good luck for Lindblad as well, also challenging Hulkenberg's time. Lawson comes across the line. Where does he go? As he crosses it, he goes up to P9 at 13.8. Lindblad got 4 tenths to gain. He's wide in Raskas. Lindblad very wide at the exit of Raskas. He's going to lose time there. It's interesting to look at the front. We've got a 12.7 and 12.8, a 12.9, 2 12.9 actually. Very fascinating to see. Lindblad would go. I said he was wide at Raskas. He stays 14th. Poor last sector from him as he made the mistake. Hulkenberg, is he on a live lap? No, he's back. Well, he wasn't a live lap. It's actually a decent middle sector from Nico Hulkenberg himself. As Sainz is blocked, and Lawson will push Hulkenberg to 11th. Can Hulkenberg get back in the top if he can? He pips Carlos Sainz with a 13.9, puts Hulkenberg back into Q3. Norris is going again, but he's missing out. He's missing time in the middle sector from Kimi Antonelli. What can George Russell do in the middle sector? Max Verstappen is still out on track, but I think he might, maybe Pitton might have enough time to go for one more lap. Norris rounds the final corner onto the main straight. I don't think he's going to have to do a hell of a last set to get Antonelli's time. He crossed the line, stays P3, improves his time to a 12.9, goes within the tenths of Max Verstappen, but he stays P3. Cameras on George Russell now into the flag. He's 3 tenths off Antonelli's time into swim pool. Yet again, Russell is lacking time to Antonelli. I'll say this now, Leclerc's up in P1, but Antonelli a purple middle sector for him. George Russell, if you keep losing time to Antonelli, Max Verstappen will take your seat next year. I think that's the rumours now. With the contract clause, if you can't compete with Antonelli in total, we'll see that Verstappen will be in the Mercedes. Highly likely. Russell crosses the line. Where does Russell go? Stays P8 at 13.3. That's not going to keep your Mercedes seat, George. It's really not. Verstappen's licking his lips at that. Cameron Leclerc now coming up the tunnel into another chicane. Russell is nowhere from Ben. He is nowhere. And he's under pressure again. He's 6 tenths off Antonelli as well, which is the staggering thing. It's not even like he's close. He just doesn't have any pace whatsoever. Antonelli's still top. I think Leclerc's backed off. No, Leclerc's not backed off. Leclerc 2 tenths up on Antonelli in the middle sector alone. This is where Charles Leclerc comes live. We haven't seen that they haven't been able to do this in qualifying because they haven't been able to push on the braking. Look what happens with the best drivers in the world when you can push a Formula 1 car. The ones rise to the top. Leclerc comes around the last corner. It's a solid lap. This will put him P1, maybe a 12.5 or a 12.6. Crosses the line. Charles Leclerc goes P2. He lost it in the last sector, but within the 10th, that's the 12.7 from Leclerc. He matches Antonelli's time, but goes P2 as he's 700s off. Antonelli 12.7. Leclerc 12.7. Verstappen 12.8. That's your top 3 at the minute. Now I'm going to breathe. I love Formula 1 when they can push. It's a massive difference when they can push a car. Russell went to Tabak, he was wide on the exit, just missed the wall, they lose it. Yeah, I saw that moment into swimming pool. Again, similar to what Behrman did, he clips a lot of inside curb in swimming pool, which upset the car. He had to hold it and correct it going into the second part of swimming pool. Kept it pinned flat though, but put him down in P8. As I said, he's not going to keep his Mercedes engine. That camera on Lewis Hamilton, who's lost time in sector 1. Not the strongest sector 1, but Hamilton down into the Nürburgring chicane now with his sparkly pink helmet. Over the curve, he hit that curve quite hard. Avoid the wall on the exit, but now again you're aiming for the back. This is where you hold your breath for the next 15 seconds. Into the back goes Hamilton. He needs a 15.5 in the sector. He's not. He's 2.5 tenths off. I don't think he can gain that in the last sector alone, but he will stay probably P6 ahead of Hajar, who's in P7. Excuse me, gentlemen, can I just have a bit of chat silence while I check where the massive overrated here prefix is? Oh look, he's absolutely nowhere. For anyone who doesn't know, Curly Tops, who is my father, is not a fan of George Russell. I'm sure you've gathered that if you're in the chat at the minute, but he really isn't the biggest fan of him. And Russell, just to check, is down in P8, which is making my dad very happy, I think, with that result. Antonelli, though, remains P1. Hamilton backed off his lap in the end to pit. They're going to add front wing. They probably needs more on that front end because he seemed like he was struggling all weekend, actually. But more of the rears. I'd probably put more of the front because you know how much I've seen him slide in that Ferrari. Piastri now under the tunnel. Piastri again slow in sector 1. What was his sector 1 time at 19.2? It's not bad. Quietly happy with the downfall of Russell from Ben, yeah. Isn't that funny how he's quickly lost a lot of fans with his, I think it's weird attitude he's got this year because he thinks he deserves more titles than he has. That wasn't a smart sentence. Piastri, a personal best in sector 2 for him. He is just within the 10th and a half of Antonelli. This could put him very much within third. He's going to try and maybe pip his teammate Lando Norris in fourth. Remember, that's the second row. Position is king. Track position is king at Monaco. You want to be as hard as you can. Obviously, that doesn't change. Monaco just helps more. Piastri onto the main straight. Now he pins the throttle coming out of Anthony nose. Cross the line. He stays P5. A personal best of a 13.0. He can't dip into the 12s that he needs. He stays P5 just within a just within a tenth of his teammate. But Norris stays fourth. Piastri stays fifth. The Alpines are now out. They need to get into the top 10. They're in 13th and 15th right now. There's a lot of things happening in qualifying in Monaco. This is interesting. Look how much more entertaining it is when the drivers can push. It makes such a difference. It makes such a difference. I don't want to see the restrictions taken out coming to Spain where they're lifting off again. Get rid of it. Even if they're 2 seconds lap slower, who cares? Let them push on the brakes. Let them push on the brakes. There's Max Verstappen weaving now coming out. There's Hajar, coming down by chicane, warming up. So you got, who is this? Colapinto gadgets. Colapinto's going to be the first one to cross the lines. He's just within half a tenth of Nico Hulkenberg, but he's on the wrong side of the half a tenth, so he's going to stay outside of Q3. Gasly's 2 tenths up on Hulkenberg's time. This could put Gasly into Q3 and Colapinto remain out of it, but he needs to have a good last sector. Colapinto looked a bit wide at Raskas. Happened a few times this week. We've seen today actually. We've seen a few people want it. Gasly looking now. That Colapinto across the line. He goes P2 over 39. It's not enough. Gasly's going to cross the line after him. Where's Pierre Gasly? Across the line, he goes into P9. That pushes Gasly into Q3. Pushes Hulkenberg back out in P11. Hulkenberg is on the lap, but it's not good enough. He's probably going to back out of this up and go again. He's losing a lot of time in that middle sector. Once again, it's Nico Hulkenberg. But out of qualifying at the minute, we have Hulkenberg, Sainz, Colapinto, Albon, and Lindblad. Of course, Bortoleto is in 16th. Obviously, he whacked the wall. He tasted the Armco of his tyre, so he's not going to qualify anywhere higher than 16th. My problem with George is he thinks he's entitled to be P1 and have a world championship. Yeah, there's a red flag somewhere. Oh no, I read that wrong. That's a turn lane. That tricked me. I saw the red thing in the limit and I thought, why is there a red flag? And that got me. That confused the hell out of me. But Lawson, he's in P10. He's actually just half a second off Anthony's tab, which put him a low 13, which will put him just up to P8. He might pip George Russell here. Yeah, Russell, he made a comment a few weeks ago about how he thinks he could have 1 or 2 championships. I don't understand where he's got that from. That doesn't make sense to make that comment. Lawson stays behind Russell, goes P9, pushes Gasly down to P10. So again, the fight for Q3 is getting closer and closer. Gasly survives and not in 10th. Lawson's P9. Russell is just surviving in P8. Again, not a good first sector. Verstappen at 18.9 in the first sector. That's a purple first sector of the weekend for Max Verstappen. He's flying now. The Red Bulls come alive. Verstappen's come alive. The best drivers in the world are alive when you let them push to the limit. It's funny that. The fact that Formula 1 took that away from us, but you get it this weekend, is staggering to me. Anyway, the camera's on George Russell. He's slow sector 1. He goes into Tabac now. Oh, the camera's fallen over. 2.5 tenths off Anthony's time for George Russell. He needs to get up on that in the sector 3. Otherwise, this could put him around 5th, I reckon. 5th or 6th for George Russell. That's going to be close. Piastri's within half a tenth. Antonelli, 2.5, nearly 3 tenths off his own time in sector 2. Antonelli is flying at momentum. George Russell, Anthony knows, onto the main straight. Where does this put him? He's currently P8. He crosses the line and he stays in 8th for 13.2. Awful from Russell. Absolutely dreadful from Russell. Piastri stays 5th. Again, a 12.9. He deeps into the 12. But it's not that to move it. Anthony crossed the line at 12.7. He'd actually lose his time in the last set to what he was up. He had green. Max Verstappen P1, a 12.4. Nearly a 12.5. Hello, Max Verstappen. Where's this been all season? Oh, wait, the best drivers in the world can push again. Hence why the likes of him and Leclerc and Antonelli are up there. That's so funny to me. I'm going to say that all day if it continues like this because it's proving a point. Stop the vote. Stop. Red flag the session. End it now. End it now. Sainz goes P11. He misses out on Q3. What can Hulkenberg do just behind him? Who's crossing the line next? I don't know. It's Albon in P11. So that's Williams 11 for 12. They couldn't carry the Q1 momentum. Max, it's funny you unleash the best drivers world and let them break late. Look what happens. He's like Hadjar goes P3 in the Red Bull. 12.7 from Hadjar. That's ahead of Leclerc. That's a hell of a lap from Hadjar. Fantastic lap from Hadjar. Just what? 0.01, 0.02 of Antonelli's time. Hamilton Lewis, Hamilton who's down in P7. Hamilton again under pressure in that 7th. Russell under pressure ever. I wouldn't be comfortable if I was them. Hamilton out of Sandoval onto the main straight. Where does he go? P7, 13.0. Can he dip into 12? He does with a 12.9. He pushes Piastri down to P7. Both of them in the 12.9 with Lando and Norris. But they seem to be just a tenth or two off what the leaders are doing. Lindblad stays in 50th. That's Colapinto done in 40th. Lindblad done in 50th. They will not go higher. He splits the McLarens. He does split the McLarens, but they're lacking a couple of tenths. I think Norris has more in him. I don't think Hamilton and Piastri do have more in him than that, but I think Norris definitely has more in him. Look at that 12.4, just underneath a 12.5 for Max Verstappen. That would have surprised many, many drivers. I think that's it. I think no one else on a competitive lap in this qualifying session. So out in Q2, both Williams, Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz. Hulkenberg unlucky in 13th, Colapinto 14th, Lindblad 15th, and of course Bortoletto 16th. Look at the order. Look at the order of this Q3. Am I excited as a Max fan that he's back in P1 in this session? Yes, I am. Don't mistake that. What was what we need at the front. Hadjar, phenomenal in 3rd as well. Norris might go 3rd. Norris has more pace in him. Norris definitely has got more pace within that McLaren. I think he messed up the last lap, but his first sector was slow anyway. Oh, the head prefect's plane is already warming up for his early departure. Yeah, 13.2. That's. Oh, Albon did clump the wall inside the swimming pool. They're putting well wide off course for the next part of that flip-flop chicane. That's probably why he was down in 11th, sorry, in a bad middle sector, and last sector from him. 11th, not bad for Williams. They're improving. It was only Gasly's in 10th, so he made Q3 13.7, sorry. Just 200s ahead of Albon at 11th. That's how close it is. I will say it the whole time, by George. I will say it the whole time. Leave these deployment restrictions as they are. Get rid of straight line mode. If it means we lose some lap time, so be it. We lose lap time, they'll game it back somewhere in the season and change the engines. Let the best drivers in the world prove what they do differently. I want to watch Peter Winster's video after this weekend, where he's going to say the exact same things. You give the best drivers the ability to brake later as anyone else, and look what happened. Max Shanway's 4-time world champion. Exactly. The results this weekend are driver bound, not just based on the energy deployment of the engine. This is driver ability. Even if Antonelli gets pole, it doesn't matter who gets pole. This week has already shown. They're not running on the cars here because they can brake late. Have I missed anything juicy? Scott, what you're missing is drivers are actually they're able to brake. Bullet pouts, please. Does that mean to be points? I'm guessing it's bullet points. What's happening, Scott? Why is my chat not refreshing? 1 second. My chat on my stream isn't refreshing. I need that to refresh. Anyway, bullet points. Scott, you want bullet points? Let me tell you something. We don't know who's going to get pole because they're all stuck at the top. My mouse is now just caught on something, hence why I'm at this very strange angle. It's a fight for pole position, Scott. That's what's happening. We don't know. We can't predict it. You can see the names at the front. We've got Max Verstappen, Antonelli, Hadjar, Leclerc, Norris. What's happening, Scott, is because of the deployment restrictions, the drivers aren't having to lift off. So the best drivers in the world can use their ability on corner entry, mid-corner and corner exit, particularly on braking, because they're not lifting off. When you do that, the cars come alive. When you do that, the best drivers in the world are able to show what they can do. Look at the top 8. Look at the different order. Yes, the cars are helping. What cars balance more? What cars performing more? Scott, why aren't you DJ? Just listen, Scott's the talented man. Scott can multitask, right? Scott can absolutely multitask, and we want Scott in here. But what's happening is the best drivers in the world on bullet point are proving why they're there. This is the most entertaining qualifying session we've had this season. Because, as I said, the drivers can push, and I will keep saying that until the rules change. Until keep the restriction, keep the deployment restriction. There's a flight back to Rich. They land at 6 p.m. from Rich Daily Private Plane Airport. I understand head prefect. Again, for the likes who can't tell, my dad doesn't like George Russell. He's calling him the head prefect. Yeah, Scott could do one thing, but Scott, there's a fight for pole here. We've got Max, Antonelli, Hadjar, Leclerc. I think they're the main ones for pole. Actually, I said Hadjar. Hadjar's just suddenly appeared this session, but would he be there for the pole fight? Potentially. He did the 12.7 that lap. But I think you want to look at Verstappen, Antonelli, and Charles Leclerc. And I do think Lando Norris has more pace than what he's showing as well. Yeah, but I did. There you go. I put it at the end. I think Norris is showing more pace than the end. I think he messed up that lap, but he's going to be up there as well. But we're into the 12.4s now. This is fantastic. This is great. I might only watch the sessions this season where they they have a restriction on the deployment, where the drivers can actually drive the car. Staggering the difference, isn't it? Absolutely staggering. I think that's a fair rant. I think it's a valid rant. I think I'll do the rant again on the podcast if good, and the stream next week as well. I realised I didn't stream this week. I hate how much Sky Sports chatted with Zach. I kind of can't stand Sky Sports with the way they produce Formula 1 at the minute. I think the whole show's bad. Go on, poll predictions. Surely some people's opinions have changed since the qualifying started to now. Anyone say Max P1? Pav, I think Pav, didn't you say Max P1 or something? I know Flag said Max P1 to me privately because he knows the sport. Max P1. Listen, I know I'm commentating. If Max is P1, I will celebrate out loud without any shame. Don't worry about that. Do. Max is competitive.
Is he first?
At the minute, yeah. See, just to prove my point, Do is now interested because Max is back at the front. Just to prove how the sport needs certain people at the front because people can drive. The reason why he's at the front is because I said they put the deployment on, the restriction on the deployment. Mm-hmm. So the best drivers in the world can actually drive the car this weekend.
Wow.
I know. Hence why Leclerc's up there as well. Gee, I want you all to hear this conversation so you can understand how bad the rule changes were this year. Lewis too worried about upsetting Kim. Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't care less if Kim's there. I mean, they showed her a Q1. Hopefully that's out of the way. Hamilton, I think, would be fast. I thought we'd be faster. I thought we'd be higher up than 6th. Can't lie. He showed more pace for the practice sessions. Give us the green flag for Q3. This is what I want to see. 6 seconds left until Q3. Who's at the front? Is that McLaren at the front of the grid? It's going to be Piastri probably or Norris. Definitely is a McLaren. They've both got these weird helmets this weekend, so I can't see through the halo who it is. I think it's Piastri. I'm just a little yellow of the Lego helmet for Norris behind us. Piastri out on track first. Norris will follow him. Some McLaren taking the track early on in this Q3 session for Paris. Remember, it's 13 minutes. There's also a Ferrari behind Lando Norris. Oh, I'm excited for this. This is the first session I've been excited for all season. Look at the difference when you let the drivers drive. That's great. It also means the next stream for Formula 1 when they're at Barcelona will be more depressing because they're going to be lifting off again. Just saying. It's interesting how in the pit lane they've put Antonelli behind Russell. It's nice to be excited for everyone. Yeah, it really is. It really is nice to be excited for Formula 1 when they let the drivers drive. That's all it needed. But it's interesting how Antonelli is behind Russell in the coming onto the track. I wonder if it was still like that. If I was Antonelli, I wouldn't want Russell in front of me. I wouldn't want anyone in front of me, actually. The problem with Monaco is because it's so small. Yes, the McLarens have got the track advantage at the minute because they went up first, but they're going to catch them. They're still going to catch probably some cars if Gasly doesn't get a move on. And I don't see any cars. There you go, Piastri starting. Are they starting the lap instantly or are they doing 2 warm laps? I'm surprised whether they do 2. Piastri starting like now. Someone's just coming up the pits now. It's Hadjar, not in the way though. Not in the way Piastri's coming up the pit exit. Piastri's clear of the cars, going up the hill. Norris also starting his lap. First lap in Q3 leaves us 166 miles an hour going up the hill. We don't need more deployment than that. Perfect. Into Casino Square goes Piastri. Norris following him, coming around Mirabel into Casino Square as well. What's the sector 1 time for Piastri? 20.4 there. That's not quite hooked up here. This is the first lap. They're all going to be like that. Norris does a 19.5. Still speed 3. Remember in Q2, I think it was Verstappen did an 18.9. Max, Super Max. There you go, Flag. There, the Flag, the hardcore F1 fan. He knows ball. Flag's got ball knowledge. But again, these laps, ignore these laps. These laps are going to be the warm-up runs, probably for a slow down lap 1 afterwards, and then the push laps in about 2 laps time. Remember, the sector 1 we want to see from anyone, and Max did an 89 as I said in Q2. That's going to be the target sector 1 time. And Antonelli's starting his lap now as well. This is interesting to see how what approaches us. Some going to be able to push on the first lap. Leclerc 19.7, Hamilton 21.7. None of them are able to push on the first lap. That's interesting. It's been like that all session as well. Fascinating. But it's all going to be the lap after the corner. That's Piastri is now coming round Rascal. Same with Lando Norris. Both had to get past. Norris had to pass Hadjar on track actually. Verstappen into turn 1 now. What do they do turn 1 in now? Third gear. They've changed the curb. They can't ride the curb in turn 1 as much as they used to be able to. Up the hill now for Verstappen. Piastri at 19.1. Obviously, that's going to be beat. As we were in the 14.9s in Q2. And Norris in 18.3. You can see these are warm-up laps. We're just waiting now. They're teasing us. Piastri suddenly has gained 4 to 5 miles an hour going up the hill into Mirabeau, into Casino Square as well. Massenet, where everyone is. I think it's Massenet. One of them. That's from a 19.0. Now they've cranked up. You can see they teased us the first lap. You can see with the mile an hour gain, they've teased us. Now they've cranked up. Piastri at 19.0 in sector 1. McLaren have finally shown a bit of pace they've got. Norris at 19.1. Now here they come. Here they come. There's interesting to do with that corner lap straight into the fast one. Who else coming to sector 1? Leclerc at 20.1. It's a messy sector 1 from Leclerc. This is not good from him. He's already going to be a second off. This lap's gone for him already. But it's Verstappen on the flip. No, Verstappen 21 on his lap, so he's going to push the next lap as well. Same with Hadjar. What can Hamilton do in sector 1? To come around turn 2 now into Casino Square. We went for the Hamilton sector 1 time. I don't think it'll be a 19.0. I've seen the track map. There's going to be a lot of traffic for a lot of cars, especially Max, who's got the McLarens. Hamilton a 19.1. It's a decent sector 1 from him. It's not the fastest though. Piastri is off the purple and set to do a 34.2. Same as Norris, almost identical to Norris. So 34.2 by both McLarens. It's going to be very close over the line. Gasly's going to cross the line. What lap time is Gasly? The Gasly was first at 19.0. Piastri got the first competitive last time. Piastri at 12.9. Here we go into the 12s. We've still got 4 attempts to find from there, but Piastri at 12.9, Norris at 12.7. So the McLarens have stayed where they were in Q2. I think that's the maximum pace for the McLarens. I have to be honest. I don't think Norris. None of them can form that. Piastri would do well to a 12.8. He's never been in a 12.9 until Q2 appeared. Norris, of course, did a 12.7. We've got Antonelli and 18.9 in sector 1. Here they come. Hamilton at 34. Verstappen and 89 in sector 1. There they're coming now. The big boys are coming with the speed. Hamilton to 34.1. He's purple in mid-sector. Put the cameras on Antonelli and Max Verstappen. They're the ones we want to see. Verstappen's at Piatti at 1 and 2. Anthony's coming over chicane into the back. Russell's not going to pace him. Russell at 19.1 in sector 1. 34.3 in sector 2. Hamilton at 12.5. Good from Hamilton. Very good lap time. Hamilton. Russell's coming around Rascasse now into Saint-Devot. Lawson goes 4th. Non for respect, no one really cares. Maybe looking at the front. Russell onto the back, main straight. Anthony just behind him. What can George Russell do? He's not going to do a 12.5. Tell you that. George Russell across the line in 3rd at 12.8. What can Antonelli do? Antonelli across the line. He surely got to be favourite proposition. Anthony goes P1 at 12.3. There you go, Max, there's your target. A 12.3 from Anthony. Max round swimming pool. We didn't see how close he got to the walls. Comes round Rascasse. The front won't get in the rear slide. He's going to lose time there at Rascasse. Sure, he lost that Rascasse. The car's fighting him as he's fighting the car onto Anthony nose. There's no a 12 would be a surprise with that slide at Rascasse. Cross the line. Oh, 1,000. Max is a 12.3.376. 1,000th of a second in Kimi Antonelli. That slide cost him at Rascasse. Look at that. Hadjar crossed the line and goes 6th, half a second off with a 12.8. But look at that 1,000th between Antonelli and Verstappen. And Verstappen's got that speed in him. I guarantee they both have more. This is proper. This is what the best drivers in the world do when they can push a car. The fact that people that run this sport are watching this to be, oh, we need the deployment to be more. Go away. Leave the sport. Leave it. Leave it as it is. This is what you've needed all season. 1,000th of a second. You can guarantee he lost more than that. He lost at least a 10th. Or within up to a 10th at Rascasse alone. The front went in, the rear didn't go with him, you had to correct it. Anthony, I guarantee, lost time somewhere through the lap as well. Leclerc had a big oversteer moment at turn 2. They say turn 3, I'm going to call it turn 2. I'm not counting up the hill as turn 2. That'd be why he lost a second in sector 1 alone, but we've got another round of laps to go yet, lads. This is what we wanted to see in Formula 1 and in Monaco. Hadjar did pit Piastri there, so Piastri at 12.9 put him down to 7th as Hadjar over 12.8. A good lap from Hamilton as well to go at 12.5. The only Ferrari up the minute, of course, because of there's the slide for, is that the McLaren as well? McLaren, they touched the wall. I don't know what McLaren that was. Touched the wall coming out of Rascasse. We haven't seen that for a long time. The drivers are pushing the tyres. The tyres are overheating and sliding. Oh, we didn't see this for a while under brake. This is what I wanted to see. This is the Formula 1 I've missed. This is what's been needed in the sport. The drivers are sliding because they're pushing the car. I'm going to breathe now. Before the next one's lap, because this is going to be a barrage of laps in Q3. 1,000th of a second. It's going to be either pole position or the wall for Max Verstappen. Guaranteed that one. Anthony's buffer is 1,000th of a second. This is part racing. Like when I read this is racing, this is the exact same quote I thought. Exactly the same. Interesting how Charles Leclerc is the first car out for this last batch of laps now. That's fascinating. I didn't know. I thought it'd be later on, considering he needs to get a lap on the board. But maybe that's why he's gone early. Maybe Leclerc's going to do a lap, then record a lap when the cars are coming out, and then kind of mix in to the last one when everyone's doing a batch of laps. So he's going early to get that lap on the board. He needs to bank a lap. Otherwise, he's in P10. That's what I was thinking. We were all thinking it. All of us were thinking the same thing. They had to. As soon as I read it, it's young Anakin. Now this is pod racing. Awful film though. A dreadful film. Thing is, this will backfire for Leclerc if he doesn't make the line in time before the other cars come out. This is where it will backfire. He's trying to do it on his own. He's gone early as well, which is brave. I'm looking that no one yet has left the pit, so it's going well for him. He needs to get around this last sector and get to the line before. And then if he can start this lap and get out of turn 1 before there's any cars in front of him, then Leclerc's got a golden run. Golden run to it. Oh, Gasly's just come out of the pit, so Gasly will be in the way of Leclerc. This is what I mean. And Lawson, this is what I mean. They're going to catch them. They're going to catch them. For Leclerc, you want to catch what the hills till he move out the way. And Piastri, he'll clear Piastri. Piastri the pit exit, that's fine. And you'd argue the same with Lawson. It's where can he clear? Oh, camera's on Kim. There we go. We haven't had it for half an hour. We have to get it in again. He's cleared Lawson up the hill, but where can he clear? Sorry, Pierre Gasly. All the other cars are coming out there, so the camera's on Leclerc. What's Leclerc's sector 1 time? He comes down Casino Square over the tree hill. What can he do in sector 1? Leclerc a 19.2 is not a good one. It needs for pole. You need an 18.9 at least in sector 1 or a 19.0 to be competitive. That's already his bun says that that's already 3 tenths off of what he needs really to be competitive at the front of the grid. Here comes all the cars. Verstappen out of the pits, Hamilton out of the pits as well. Under the tunnel goes Charles Leclerc. How late can you break into an oval? I'm shocked she has clothes on. It won't be long. Leclerc, he's good in middle sector. Q2 was where he gained time. He comes from middle sector now. He's a second off Antonelli, so this clearly is not. This is a banker lap just to get him somewhere out of 10th, which you imagine actually with a 12.3 a second puts him about 7th or 8th. So he's not actually going to do much this bank lap. It's a weird strategy. He's backed off again, so he's going to maybe go straight away, back off in the last sector, and go straight away with the traffic and flow with it. So Leclerc's bringing with the fast across the line. Anthony coming to the pits now. Gasly across the line, doesn't improve. It goes P9 with 14.0. I think they're all going at the same time now. Leclerc's going to fit back into the system of the routine what the other cars are doing. Waiting for Piastri now. It's going to be McLaren's going to be the first ones, I think, to come across. As Piastri and Norris, just a few things behind him, coming across the line now to start their final laps. Hamilton and Verstappen are on their own part of track as well, so you have gaps now. Leclerc's got the back of Antonelli. If Leclerc's going to push again, what's the sector saying for Leclerc? It's better. It's a 19.0. That's better from Charles Leclerc. Much better as he went straight away. That's exactly what he needs. Hamilton, Verstappen, the close in sector 3, but Verstappen will back off. To have the time, Hadjar and Russell have got all the. Russell has no excuse to not be in the top 6 now with that. He's got all the space in the world in Monaco. Same with Hadjar, but Verstappen and Hamilton are very close going onto the main straight. This is odd from them both. This is very odd. They're starting laps at the same time. I don't know why they're so close to each other. This is really, they're just ruining each other's laps here. They really are. You can see they're going up the hill. This is odd from them. But going down to Leclerc now, he needs to come through to back into the middle sector. The tyre's screaming at to back. He's purple in middle sector. He used. Oh, the car is kicking into the swimming pool. This is brilliant from Leclerc. He almost survived to back. He just survived the swimming pool. Surely he lost time there. Through Ras as he goes. He's just up on Antonelli. Antonelli's about to start his lap as well. He's just behind Leclerc on track. Now come to the last corner into the main straight. What can Charles Leclerc do? Can he keep the speed up? Did he lose it in the swimming pool? Charles Leclerc across the line goes P1, a 12.35. That is stunning from Leclerc. Absolutely stunning from Charles Leclerc. Verstappen's got past Hamilton, so I don't know what those two are doing. They've just ruined that lap from each other. Very odd from them both. But Piastri's going to come across the line now. Lawson probably going to fit in 9th. Yeah, Lawson stays 9th. Look at that, staggering from Leclerc. He held on to that middle and last sector. Piastri now across the line. He stays 8th for 12.9. Doesn't improve. Poor from Piastri, but he's starting straight away into a new lap. Maybe he's gone out lap as well. Same as Norris. What's Norris done? Same thing. They're both doing 2 cooldown laps. So Verstappen's next lap is going to be his push one as well, as he's now ahead of Hamilton on track. That is staggering from Charles Leclerc. Staggering to watch. We've got the top 3, 25,000 within each other. Piastri's just 5,000 off Leclerc in sector 1. It's a good first set from Piastri at 19.0. Can the McLarens now come through and show that? What can Norris do in sector 1? Norris at 19.0 as well. They're all coming. Piastri's drifting around Lowe's hairpin. This is, I love this. This is Formula 1 at its best when drivers are pushing. I don't want to hear any of this deployment rubbish is why it's happening. This is driver ability. Verstappen's the next one to cross through the sector 1 mark. He comes out of Casino Square now. What can Verstappen do in sector 1? This is the important one. Max Verstappen at 18.8 in sector 1. He's on the limit. Verstappen's on the limit. What can Antonelli do? And Hamilton's behind him. We have to wait for Antonelli, whose lap isn't impressive. He's gone for another quarter lap. George Russell's just started his last lap as well. We're all waiting now for them to come to sector 1. Piastri's lost 2.5 attempts in sector 2. Not a surprise. They struggled there all weekend. What can Norris do in the sector 2 cut-off time? Lando Norris comes sector 2. He's off as well. He's well slow. Both McLaren struggling this lap. We're waiting for Max Verstappen who comes out the tunnel now into the Nouvelle chicane. He's the one they're waiting for. We're waiting for Hamilton. We're waiting for Verstappen. We're waiting for Antonelli. Hamilton's at a decent first at 91, but it's not what he needs. Piastri up to 5th. He blocks Norris down to 6th. Can Norris replace teammate Verstappen in sector 2? He's 0.06 up. It's not purple, but he's up on Leclerc's time. Then he comes to Vasquez. He survives swimming pool, not like Charles Leclerc's lap, but he was hanging on. Can he get the car into Vasquez? Yes, he does. Perfect. Hamilton purple in the middle sector now. 0.01 up. The car's fighting. Max, who comes into the last straight. He's not going to be happy with that Anthony Nose exit. Max Verstappen down the straight. Can he go P1? 12-0. Where's he got 2.5 tenths from? Verstappen P1. What can Hamilton do? Hamilton crossed the line. Hamilton goes P2 at 12-2. These are best drivers in the world, proving why they are. George Russell's next. George Russell's not anywhere near the pace, I think, in the other two. Actually, he's not far off. He's not far off the middle. He's not far off at all, George Russell. This is impressive from George Russell. He crossed the line from Russell. Where does he go? P6. Oh, George, you need better than that. Your rival for your car is in pole at the minute. Antonelli is up. He's quicker just by half a tenth of Verstappen into the middle sector. Can Antonelli still pull away from Max Verstappen at Monaco? Come down the main straight. Charles Leclerc as well. There's a yellow flag somewhere. Go down Antonelli down the main straight. Antonelli, Nick Pole. Yes, he can at 12. So he's Nick Pole by 400 of a second. Well done, Kimi Antonelli. Leclerc's hit the wall, he said somewhere, probably to back, wouldn't surprise me. Antonelli's nicked pole position from Max Verstappen, just 0.4 of a second. Of course Leclerc's hit the wall, doesn't surprise me at all. Am I surprised to see Max Verstappen fighting for pole position when you can break in these cars and show why? No, I'm not. No, I am not. Antonelli first, Max Verstappen second on the grid. What a qualifying session that was. Hamilton 30, out-qualifies Charles Leclerc, which I did not expect. Good luck for Hamilton for a 12-2. Leclerc, yeah, whacked the wall at Tabak, went way too fast at Tabak, hit the wall. He's lucky that actually the rear wheel's still on his car. Back in the old days, that would have ripped that rear suspension straight off. Leclerc is 5th, Hadjar 6th, George Russell in 7th, McLaren 7th and 8th, Piastri, Pip, Norris. Poor from McLaren, poor from Russell, was 4 attempts off Antonelli and 4 attempts off his rival for that car, Max Verstappen. What a front row that is. What a session that was. That's Formula 1 at the limit. My whole podcast is going to be about how keep the restrictions on the deployment. Keep the restrictions on the deployment. Let the drivers drive the car. Look how entertaining it is when it happens. Fantastic from Antonelli. Fantastic from Max Verstappen in the dog of a Red Bull. Was Hadjar actually his 5th, 12-4. Or again, 4 attempts off his teammate. Good from Hamilton to go P3. Oh. 5 in a row for Kimi now. It is. Again, he's still in the. He's that's car you want to be in. Is he going to be Max Verstappen's teammate next year in the Mercedes? That's what we all want to see now. Because George Russell is not helping himself whatsoever. But Max Verstappen P2. It's good to see him back at the front. Hamilton P3. That's a good top 3. It's a good front row. Again, figures was on board with Verstappen. What you see on board with Anthony was on board with Verstappen. He got Raskas correct, but then I think he lost the time. He lost the time at Anthony Nose because the kick he had at the lack of grip he had at the front in Raskas the lap before. He corrected it in Raskas, then had it in Anthony Nose. You can see he had to correct the understeer coming into the turns and out of it. So I do think Verstappen's going to put on the brave face and the happy that he's on the front row. I do think he could have got pole without that error at the last corner. McLaren dropped the what a quality session as well. Says Ben, mate. Best session of the season for that. Best session of the season by far. Let the drivers push the limits. Get rid of this lift and coasting. They don't need it. Put the restrictions on the deployment. Keep it like this. Keep Formula 1 entertaining. That proved the best drivers in the world and who they are. Charles Leclerc is extremely lucky that his rear suspension stayed on because he hit to back with a power and a speed that in the old days or even a few years ago would have ripped that rear suspension straight off the car. That is why Monaco stays in the calendar. Now what's going to be interesting is what is the racing? People were expecting more overtaking tomorrow because of the, there's little things with the energy. You can still use it, still use the boost button. And of course, yes, the deployment is restricted, but you still have that boost button. You're still going to have the power deficit and the advantage down the straights. If Max can make a move, where is he going to make... Look at the smile on his face. You haven't smiled all year, Max. Where is Max going to make that move if he can at Antonelli? Or where are the overtakes going to happen? I still can't see it. I mean, if it's not down the main street into turn 1, I still can't see when the moves will happen unless it's going to be into Numa chicane, which would be entertaining. Oh, that was fun. That was fun. You were right to say Russell not inside the top 4. P6 of Russell, and I'm saying it on purpose because every time you look where Russell is, you look where Max is. Because the rumours are heavy, especially what came out this morning, I think, from the Dutch media, saying there's something in Russell's contract where if he continues to not match Antonelli and it's within a certain threshold, Toto Wolff will not hesitate to call Max Verstappen's phone, and I guarantee you did say Kimi then Max Ben, you should put money on it. Maybe Pavo's you 50 quid now. But yeah, George Russell has to look because the rumours are we all know Toto Wolff will call up Verstappen if he needs him in that Mercedes. the way that's going, I can see it happening next year. Russell's going to be sweating every time he goes in that car now. P6 in Monaco when your teammate's pole. It's not a championship fight at the minute. This Antonelli needs to lose. Also, perfect for Hamilton. I don't know where Hamilton had a 12-2 from in the end, but that's brilliant from him. The old boy still got it. Leclerc, I think, will be disappointed in fourth. I think he's a scruffy Q3. He messed up his first run in up the hill. And then, of course, there's a good third lap from him, but then that guy looks like Hamilton. He's done that on purpose, hasn't he? But then Leclerc smacking the water back. I'm surprised he didn't stay in the wall. I'm amazed by that. Toto will take him right now and let him race any other race he wants to. The reason why I can see Max Guy and Mercedes, yes, Toto Wolff will call him up for George Russell, who's not helping himself in the minute. But of course, Toto Wolff will let Max Verstappen race any endurance race he wants, as long as it's in the Mercedes. He'll let Max do Le Mans. He'll let Max do Daytona. He'll let Max do Nordschleife, probably Spa. That's the big clause in the contract. But I've been streaming for 2.5 hours, and everyone forgets we had MotoGP at the start of the stream, which was horrendously dull. Delighted we got Mark back on the top step, though. Happy to see that. The guy is not human, he's the greatest of all time. Then we go to Formula 1, which I was actually more excited for because of what was happening with going into the weekend. I saw what the deployment differences were making with the restriction, and that's the best session I've seen this year. I think in a lot of races, a lot of sessions in different series. That was fantastic. We got the guys at the front of the grid who deserve to be at the front of the grid. That's not just Max Hamilton as well. He's proven he's still got it. Antonelli proven he's the talented one now. We got the top three. As long as it doesn't clash with F1, he can do it. That's what I mean. They'll move the schedule around to make Max in here. Probably not Le Mans, but the others. Not Daytona here actually, but Nordschleife I think they would. But that was perfect. Absolutely perfect of a session. We were excited for the race tomorrow. Now, for anyone in the stream tomorrow, we're going to be live just before 1 o'clock, so maybe 1:45. I can't say how rated head prefect is. I've been told off by Stanley's mum because of it. Yet my mum owns you a lot for this, but he's proved his point in this one. We're only P6. Anyway, we'll be live just before 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, because tomorrow afternoon is the MotoGP full race, 26 lap of the Balaton Park Grand Prix. Can Márquez do that pace for 26 laps? He certainly did it easily for 13. Can he get his first win and Ducati's first win, factory Ducati's first win of the season tomorrow? Now you might think, where's Formula 1? MotoGP will be on between 1 and maybe 1:45. Formula 1 Monaco Grand Prix starts at 2 o'clock. Be there tomorrow for this. Follow the Twitch and subscribe to Twitch, Apex to Apex Pod on Twitch, Apex to Apex Pod on Instagram. Give that a follow. Of course, this stream and the podcast episodes and the streams in the week, episodes will be up on the YouTube channel, Apex to Apex Podcast on YouTube. Ben is racing later on as well on Gran Turismo. Give Ben a follow and watch that one. Give him a look. I don't like Gran Turismo, but he enjoys it. Give him a follow and look at that on Gran Turismo later on this evening. I'll see you tomorrow. Did I big up the Spotify one? Probably not. It's also Apex to Apex Podcast on Spotify as well, as long as YouTube. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there because I'm knackered and I need food. And that was the most entertaining session of the season. Max is back at the front where he belongs. Hamilton showing he can still do it at his age. And then he's still leading them just by 0.04 of a second to Max. I'm eager to see where the overtake is going to happen with this weird boost mode, if it can happen, or if it's going to be a procession at Monaco as usual. Anyway, anyone in the stream tomorrow, people are joining now, wrong timing, so I'm leaving, so I'm knackered. If you've just joined now, watch it back on the VOD. You can do what you want. Join the stream tomorrow just before 1 o'clock. We'll do it all again for MotoGP and Formula 1, and I'll see you guys later. Thank you for that. Someone just follow just before I leave. It's your local GP. If that's a GP I think it is, I love you for that. You've just followed at the wrong time, I'm leaving, but I'll see you all tomorrow once again. Thank you for the follow.